Chapter 903. Looking at Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan laughing, the two little guys didn't understand anything and just laughed foolishly on the side. Zhou Luan asked, "What should we do next? Do we continue to attack the Zhang family or let it go first?" Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "There's no hurry. I have the advantage now. What we need to do is to proceed step by step. Do everything according to Blood Shadow's rules and try to satisfy those neutral elders. The more things you do, the higher your prestige in the hearts of those elders. When your prestige surpasses Zhang Dingming, most of the neutral elders will side with us. At that time, we can find a way to make Zhang Dingming a mere figurehead. After today's matter, there will soon be other elders imitating the Su family and wanting to establish branches in the Yan Kingdom. The matter of the family recommending talents to the headquarters can also be put aside for the time being. It won't be too late to recommend after the Linhai and Fallen Star branches are established." Zhou Luan nodded. "I'm just afraid that Zhang Dingming will come up with some schemes and mess up our arrangements." Wang Daoyuan didn't take it seriously. What else can he do? With me here, if he dares to use force, I can smile until my mouth is crooked. We can take the opportunity to kill Zhang Dingming and suppress the Zhang family in a justifiable way. If he wants to use power to suppress others, does he have the power of you, Shadow Master, Second Elder, and Third Elder? In terms of resources, the Su family and some elders support us. You are also the Shadow Master. Most of Blood Shadow's resources are in your hands. Even if we can't casually use these resources, we can guarantee that the Zhang family won't touch them. If Zhang Dingming wants to cause trouble, he can only use his family's private resources. The Su family doesn't have many private resources. Even if the Zhang family is stronger, it won't be too much. The resources he can mobilize can't be compared to our Wang family at all. Force, power, and resources, he can't do anything. What can he do?" Zhou Luan nodded. "Hearing you say that, it seems that the Zhang family doesn't have many resources at their disposal. I couldn't tell that you are quite good at playing mind games." Wang Daoyuan said proudly, "Of course, I've been with Lord Shadow Master for hundreds of years. Lord Shadow Master is extremely intelligent. No matter how stupid I am, I can still learn something from him. First, make sure you can't win, then wait for the enemy to win. We are already in an invincible position. As long as we don't make any big mistakes, we will be able to completely crush the Zhang clan." The reason why Zhang Dingming could still stir up trouble now was because he had been the great elder for hundreds of years and had accumulated extremely high prestige. Wait until your prestige surpasses his, then wait for him to become a mere figurehead. I am in no hurry to go to the Sea of Seven Stars. Anyway, I'm not even 400 years old yet. I'm still far from the 2,000-year limit. As for the matter of the Tier 6 Yang Fei, I already had some ideas when I went to the Sea of Seven Stars. I have also found a backup plan. It wouldn't take long for him to break through to the soul formation stage after obtaining the Yin-Yang spiritual item. Waiting in Beiyuan for 100 or 200 years is nothing. With you here, I feel a lot more at ease. Before you came here, Zhang Dingming was very arrogant and always showed off his seniority in front of me. If it weren't for the two doppelgangers you left for me, he might have seized power openly." As soon as she finished speaking, two people outside the door asked to see her. Zhou Luan opened the array formation and let them in. These two people were not strangers. One of them was the second elder, Zhang Yu. The other was an old man named Chao Jing. Chao Jing's appearance could be considered dignified. He was wearing a white wide-sleeved robe, a white jade crown on his head, and his long beard fluttering in the wind. He looked like an immortal. All cultivators liked to dress like this when they were old. When Zhou Luan was elected as the Shadow Master, he also contributed a lot. Chao Jing and Zhou Luan's father didn't have much contact. However, he and Zhang Yu's master were good friends for many years. He had always been on Zhang Yu's side and could be considered as Zhou Luan's supporter. After the two entered the courtyard, they hurriedly bowed and said, "Greetings to the Shadow Master and retired Emperor." Zhou Luan smiled and said, "Uncle Zhang, Elder Chao, you are all my elders. You don't have to be so polite. If you have something to talk to me about, just say it." Zhang Yu replied, It's not that I have something to talk to you about, but Elder Chow wants to ask the Shadow Master and retired Emperor for help. Elder Chow cupped his hands and said, I'm almost 900 years old, and my talent is not enough to form my nascent soul. Although my family is not a direct descendant, it has been 4 or 5 generations since we joined the Blood Shadow. There are many clansmen, and even I have more than 10 children. All these years, we have been suppressed by the Zhang and Su families, and it has been difficult for us to advance. Now, only my eldest son has good talent and has successfully formed his gold core. However, his talent is not as good as mine. It will be difficult for him to become an elder with real power in the future. My grandson's talent is even worse. He doesn't even have 2 spiritual roots. If we continue to stay in the Blood Shadow, the younger generation will gradually decline. I want to ask the retired emperor to let my youngest son work in the country of Yen and leave a way out for the Chow family. Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was delighted. He had come to defect. Chao Jing's influence was naturally incomparable to that of the Zhang and Su families. However, it was still the accumulation of several generations, and among the elders who were not direct descendants, he was still very influential. The only person who was stronger than him among the elders who were not direct descendants was the Blood Wolf's supervisor, Wuxiang. Wuxiang's situation was similar to Chao Jing's. It was also the accumulation of several generations. However, his talent was better, and he was a cultivator with heavenly spiritual roots. Although heavenly spiritual roots cultivators were rare, a large force like the Blood Shadow could still recruit a few. There had never been a cultivator with heavenly spiritual roots in the Blood Wolf, so the supervisor naturally had to have a heavenly spiritual root to suppress him. Now, Wu Xiang was only 400 years old, and he was already a peak golden core cultivator. With his talent, breaking his gold core and forming his nascent soul was a piece of cake. Although the Chao family status was not as high as the Wu family's, it was not too low. In addition, Wu Xiang had already accepted a disciple of the Wang family as a disciple, so he could be considered to be on the Wang family's side. Once the Chao family declared their position, many elders would come to defect. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly said, Elder Chao, you're exaggerating. The Yen kingdom has just been established, and the Wang family is seriously lacking in manpower. We need talents. Young Master Chao's talent must be extraordinary. Since you want to work in the Yen kingdom, we will not treat you badly. There are many remaining spirit veins in Guiyan County, north of Shanbei. It is not a big deal to give you a spirit vein. As long as young Master Chao performs meritorious deeds, you will be granted a title and land in the future. After receiving Wang Daoyuan's promise, Chao Jing was full of smiles. Thank you for your kindness, retired emperor. Wang Daoyuan took out a communication jade talisman and sent a message to the Yen kingdom, asking Wang Mingchen to arrange a spirit vein for the Chao family in Guiyan County. I have already instructed Mingchen to find a level 4 spirit vein in Guiyan County for young Master Chao. Elder Chao can send him over at any time. Chao Jinghao thanked him profusely before taking his leave. Zhang Yu's situation was different from Chao Jing's. He was a talent recommended by the branch, and did not have any foundation in the Blood Shadow. 4 cultivators without foundation like him, the Zhang and Su families had a consistent attitude of suppressing them. If not for his relationship with Zhou Luan, Zhang Yu would only be an elder with an idle job. He did not have a family behind him. Now, he only had a cultivation partner and 3 children with spirit roots. This small family could live well with his treatment as an elder. There was no need for him to move to the Yen kingdom. After the 2 of them left, Zhou Luan smiled. It seems that your overt scheme has some effect. Elder Chao came to join us after just one thing. After a few more things, I'm afraid that even Wu Xiang will have to send people to work in the Yen kingdom. This will happen sooner or later. Our Wang family has pulled the Su family and a group of non-direct elders to fight the Zhang family. As long as we can defeat the Zhang family, they will give up a lot of benefits. For tens of thousands of years, the Zhang and Su families have the final say in the Blood Shadow. Families with non-direct elders will be pushed out after a few generations. Now that there is a chance to turn things around, there are naturally many people who want to get involved. Chapter 904. Zhou Luan looked indignant. Before you came here, Zhang Dingming had been thinking of ways to make me a mere figurehead. After you came, he restrained himself a bit. Now that we have the chance, we have to let him know how powerful I am as the Shadow Master. How should we deal with him next? Let's not do anything for now. If we want to completely control Blood Shadow, we have to ensure that there isn't any serious internal strife. The Zhang clan and the Su clan have tens of thousands of years of foundation. They have people in all of Blood Shadow, from the headquarters to the various branches, and even some of the scattered spies. Most of the hall masters were also promoted by them. In the middle and lower levels, the two clans probably have more than 80% of their power. The Su clan took the initiative to admit defeat. As long as we win over Su Qinghe and the others, we can borrow the Su clan's power. The Zhang clan's power is only stronger than the Su clan's. If we really fight head-on, we'll also suffer great losses if we take down the Zhang clan. Moreover, the Zhang clan's power will be completely gone, and Blood Shadow's intelligence network will also be cut in half. It'll probably take a few hundred years to recover. Zhou Luan was still a bit angry. I really want to get rid of the Zhang clan immediately. She was a fire attribute cultivator, and most fire attribute cultivators were rather impatient. Even Wang Mingchen was like this when he was young. Later, under Wang Shi's personal guidance, his personality gradually became steady. In addition, she was a bit narrow-minded to begin with, so her impatience was even more obvious. Lord Shadowmaster, please calm down. Haste makes waste. Let's wait patiently. We'll slowly cut off the Zhang clan's henchmen and divide their power. It won't be too late to deal with the Zhang clan then. Zhou Luan took out the command medallion and looked at it. The Dao slip sent a letter asking about the arrangements for the Linhai and Falling Star branches. These places are our Wang clan's territory. Their power is relatively simple, and they're mostly lone cultivators. Relying on assassinations to earn spirit stones is definitely unreliable. The main purpose of Blood Shadow's various branches was to gather information. Apart from occupying special industries, they didn't need to hand over information to the headquarters. Of course, if they could hand over some natural treasures, they could also receive a lot of rewards. The headquarters controlled the branches mainly by appointing and dishing out hall masters, as well as inheritance of cultivation techniques and all kinds of treasures. As for the day-to-day operations of the branches, the headquarters couldn't control them. The things that the branch obtained from the headquarters also required contribution points. These contribution points had to be exchanged with information and treasures. This included the yin-yang purple jade that was given every 100 years, which was actually exchanged with contribution points. In addition, there were also various missions assigned by the headquarters, which could also earn contribution points. Now in the Yen Kingdom, both the black and white sides were controlled by the Yen Kingdom's imperial court. Assassination missions could only be carried out with the approval of the imperial court, and the income in this area was greatly reduced. Now, the Shanbei and Qingli branches were supported by the spirit stones provided by the Yen Kingdom. However, these branches did not belong to the Yen Kingdom in name. The dominance of these branches became a conflict between the Yen Kingdom and Blood Shadow. If this situation continued, it would be the Yen Kingdom spending money to help Blood Shadow raise the branch. On the Blood Shadow side, some of the elders were unhappy that their own branch didn't listen to them and instead listened to the Yen Kingdom. As time passed, it would lead to a bigger conflict and even affect the relationship between the Yen Kingdom and Blood Shadow. Wang Daoyuan pondered for a long time before saying, "Actually, I've had some ideas for a long time. It's just that I didn't control many branches in the past, so there's no need to play any tricks. Now there will be 4 branches, and there may be more in the future. Then I can perfect my previous idea. I plan to set up a chamber of commerce in the name of the Yen Kingdom. This chamber of commerce will be in charge of many industries. Different industries will play different roles. Some will be in charge of raw material production, some will be in charge of transportation, and some will be in charge of trading. The various industries will be managed by the Chamber of Commerce. Doing business is much better than doing it alone. Moreover, doing business in the name of the Chamber of Commerce was actually a form of expansion, and it would not be ostracized by the local forces. Blood Shadow branches would open a few shops, and these shops would join the Chamber of Commerce. The income from the Chamber of Commerce would be used to maintain the operations of the various branches. The imperial court would not contact Blood Shadow directly, which could also avoid a lot of trouble. If the Chamber of Commerce could expand, it could expand to the surrounding areas and swallow up the other branches of Blood Shadow. Moreover, the various industries of the family and the imperial court could be placed under the Chamber of Commerce. The upper management of the Chamber of Commerce could be held by people from the Yen Kingdom's finance palace. If they expanded in the name of the Yen Kingdom, it would give the other forces the impression that the Yen Kingdom was bullying the weak. If they expanded in the name of the Chamber of Commerce, they would only be doing business, and there would be no intention of invading. After the family disciples completely control Blood Shadow, they would swallow up the entire headquarters and make Blood Shadow a part of the Chamber of Commerce. Zhou Luan nodded. It is very suitable for the Yen Kingdom and Blood Shadow to merge in this way. However, how will the headquarters of Blood Shadow be fooled in this way? Some of the elders are very stubborn, and they are worried that Blood Shadow will become a subsidiary of our Wang family. Otherwise, many non-direct elders would not object to my suggestion of changing some of the rules. Wang Daoyuan smiled. This is not difficult. The various branches of Blood Shadow have the right to operate industries. It can be said that the Yen Kingdom's Imperial Court and Blood Shadow Mountain's northern branch are cooperating. There is no need to set up a Chamber of Commerce in one go. We can set up the Chamber of Commerce in the name of the Chamber of Commerce first, and only have a few shops under it. At the root of it, it is the same as a branch opening a shop. Do the branches of Blood Shadow still need the approval of the headquarters to operate the shops? You are so cunning. Indeed, we can bypass the headquarters and set up the Chamber of Commerce first. We can also use the business of the Chamber of Commerce to gradually control the other branches and eliminate the henchmen of the Zhang family. Alright, what should we name the Chamber of Commerce? The name of the Chamber of Commerce must be grand. Jade Spring Chamber of Commerce, Clear Glass Chamber of Commerce, and so on are too small. In the future, when the Chamber of Commerce expands to other countries, it will be easy to be rejected. Let's call it Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce. The territories of all the countries in Beiyuan Xiuxian are in the Wanchuan River Basin. No matter where we do business, we will not be rejected. There is no need to be too detailed for now. When Ming Ren and Ming Xian are 10 years old, I will bring them back to Jade Spring Peak to acknowledge their ancestors. At that time, I will discuss with Ming Chen and the others how to refine the structure of the Chamber of Commerce. Zhou Luan nodded and took out the Shadow Master's token to send a message to Wang Daojian. In just 4 to 6 hours, Wang Daojian, who was in Clear Glass City, received the message. After taking a look, he hurriedly ran to the Imperial Palace and reported to Wang Mingchen. When he saw Wang Mingchen, he took out a jade scroll. Your Majesty, the retired Emperor sent a message about the Blood Shadow Division. This involves the Imperial Court, so I do not dare to make decisions on my own. This is the content of the Empress Dowager's top-secret message. I have copied it down for your Majesty to take a look. Wang Mingchen took a look. Imperial Father's idea is not bad. The Imperial Court and the Blood Shadow Mountain's North Branch Hall will cooperate to establish a Chamber of Commerce. This way, we can avoid the conflict between the Yen Kingdom and the Blood Shadow Division. In the future, when we become bigger, we can continue to expand to other places. It just so happens that our Yen Kingdom has too many resources and insufficient population. We can also sell all kinds of resources to other places through the Chamber of Commerce. Since it is Imperial Father's idea, we will do as he says. We have to find Ming Ji and Ming Kong to handle this matter. They are in charge of the Treasury Hall. The Treasury Hall will be in charge of all matters related to business and finances. Men, invite the Treasury Hall Master and Deputy Hall Master over for a discussion. A young clan member in armor bowed and said yes, then walked out. Holding a position by Wang Mingchen's side, he could come into contact with all kinds of secrets of the Wang family. Especially this kind of personal bodyguard, it was naturally not a position that an ordinary person could take on. This person was Wang Daochang's grandson, the Wang family's second heavenly spirit root cultivator, Wang Lin. Chapter 905. At this time, Wang Lin was only 25 or 26 years old, but his cultivation level had already reached the 4th level of foundation establishment. The earliest a cultivator could reach foundation establishment was 20 years old. In other words, he had reached the 4th level from the 1st level of foundation establishment in 5 or 6 years. If Wang Daoyuan saw the current Wang Lin, he would probably get a huge shock too. With a heavenly spirit root and a water spirit body, his cultivation speed was terrifying. Although he had accumulated many years of merit, it was still terrifying to be able to reach the 4th level of foundation establishment so quickly. He cultivated the Black Tortoise water resistance technique of the Black Tortoise Hall in the Valley of Beasts, which was one of the core techniques of the Valley of Beasts. This cultivation method was left behind by a powerful cultivator. The cultivation method used was very profound, so naturally, one's cultivation speed would be greatly increased. Previously, Wang Mingqian formed his gold core at 150 or 160 years old. His special physique was a battle physique. Before he condensed the Nanmingli fire, it didn't increase his cultivation speed. Although Wang Lin's water spirit body didn't help much in fights of magical power, it was very helpful in terms of cultivation speed. According to this calculation, his cultivation speed should be much faster than Wang Mingqian's. Wang Lin went out for less than 5 minutes before he returned to the imperial study. He cupped his hands towards Wang Mingqian and said, "Your Majesty, the Treasury Hall Master and Deputy Hall Master are waiting outside." Wang Mingqian nodded. "Let them in." Wang Lin shouted, "The Treasury Hall Master and Deputy Hall Master are here." Wang Mingji and Wang Mingkong walked into the imperial study and were about to salute. They were both senior members of the Wang family. When Wang Daoyuan had just formed his gold core, the underworld sect was divided into territories. When Wang Daoyuan was building the governor's office, they were in charge of the treasury hall and the trade division. It had been almost 200 years since then. They were quite talented and had already reached the peak of the Zifu realm. It wasn't difficult for them to form their gold core. Wang Mingqian took out a jade slip. "Brothers, you don't have to be so polite. This is the news from my father. See how to execute it." Wang Mingji took the jade slip and carefully read it before he handed it back to Wang Mingkong. After both of them had read it, Wang Mingji said, "The retired emperor's method is excellent. The imperial court has a lot of resources, and the Blood Shadow division has a lot of information. With the finance hall taking the lead and establishing the Wan Chuan Chamber of Commerce, combined with Blood Shadow's information, doing business will naturally be successful." Wang Mingkong pondered for a moment. "Since we've established the Chamber of Commerce, we can recruit wandering cultivators on a large scale. It doesn't matter if their talent and character are lacking. As long as he had spirit stones, everything could be solved. Previously, because we didn't have enough manpower, we weren't able to develop the ore veins and other things in the heavenly/mountain range. At the same time, he didn't dare to let the other clans develop as they pleased, lest they become too powerful to handle. Now, it's easy to handle. We can use the name of the Merchant Association to develop the various mines in the heaven/mountain range. After these industries are developed, the final ownership will still be in the hands of our Wang clan. Among the cultivators recruited by the Chamber of Commerce, if they performed well, they could be sent to the imperial court to take up a post. Those who don't know what's good for them will be kicked out of the Chamber of Commerce." Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. There were many industries in the heavenly/mountain range, and the clan lacked manpower, so they could only watch and not develop them. Now, he had actually hit the jackpot and found a solution. Wang Shi smiled and said, "Mingkong's idea is not bad. As expected of a veteran who has been in charge of business for more than 200 years. However, we still need to discuss it with Daoyuan. This method is a huge adjustment to the Yen Kingdom strategy. If Daoyuan has any long-term plans and we develop them casually, it might ruin his plans." Wang Mingqian nodded. "Brothers, go prepare for the establishment of the Chamber of Commerce first. Uncle 27th, send a secret letter and ask for father's opinion. Even if we want to open up the industries, We need to set up the framework of the Chamber of Commerce and recruit enough manpower. It will probably take several years to start construction, so there's no hurry now. Wang Mingji and Wang Mingkong agreed in unison and went to make preparations. Wang Daojian took out the Hall Master token and sent a message to Zhou Luan. More than 4 hours later, Zhou Luan took out the token and looked at it. This is the news from the clan. They have already begun to prepare for the establishment of the Wan Chuan Chamber of Commerce. Mingkong proposed to use the name of the Chamber of Commerce to recruit people wantonly and open up the industries in the Heaven/Mountain range. This way, the clan won't need to send out much manpower and can effectively develop the various industries. This method was a bit like the contracting system of the world in his previous life. It was indeed very beneficial for the development of industries. Wang Daoyuan smiled. This method is to use the power of the itinerant cultivators to do our Wang family's business. The clan has really produced a business genius. We have to train her well in the future. However, we can develop ordinary industries, but we can't let go of the important industries. The Heaven/Mountain range is Beiyuan's main spirit vein. There should be a lot of spirit stone veins, and there might be a lot of yin-yang purple jade veins. These industries must be in the hands of the Wang family. The Chamber of Commerce can't touch them easily. Even if it's an ordinary industry, the person in charge must be a member of the Wang family. We can't let anyone take advantage of this loophole. Hearing this, Zhou Luan immediately replied. After receiving the reply, Wang Daojian smiled. Seventh brother agreed. Then he handed the token to Wang Mingchen. After reading it, Wang Mingchen thought for a while. Father is worried that the Wan Chuan Chamber of Commerce will have problems in the future, so he has been asking us to hold the important industries in our hands. Important industries such as spirit stone mines are the lifeline of the Yen Kingdom and the Wang family. If we hand them over to the Chamber of Commerce, it's very likely that the underlings will take advantage of this loophole. The people sent by the Wang family to look after the industries can't all be very smart. It's also very likely that the itinerant cultivators recruited will deceive and steal the authority. In my opinion, this restriction should be tighter. Wang Shui nodded. Not only are the important mines strictly prohibited from being developed, but there must also be some restrictions on the spirit veins and forest farms watered by spirit spring water and river water. Back then, when the Wang family was at its most difficult, we relied on the Jade Dragon spring water to develop more spirit fields and plant more spirit trees to barely survive. Later, when the family's finances improved, the silkworm industry, which relied on the spirit spring water, was still the family's pillar industry. This is an extremely important industry, so we must hold it in our hands. Wang Daochang said, "There's no problem with developing the mines, but our family hasn't been wantonly developing the mines in recent years. We don't know much about the distribution of the mines in the Heaven/Mountain range. We can use this opportunity to get a feel for the situation of the various industries in the Yen Kingdom and have a good idea. In recent years, the imperial court and the family have been letting these industries go their own way. I reckon there are quite a few itinerant cultivators who aren't afraid of death casually occupying the spirit veins, so we must deal with them. This is to prevent them from having a large family after a few hundred years. If we drive them away again, it won't look good. In terms of manpower, I think we should take people from the family's array formation hall, the imperial court's array formation hall, and the guardian hall." Wang Mingchen said with a smile, "That's good too. It'll be easier to develop after we figure out the family's resources. As for manpower, I think second uncle is more suitable. After he formed his gold core, he was worried about not having enough fights. Also, Wang Dezhao isn't someone who can stay idle. He's also traveled outside for dozens of years and has experience in dealing with itinerant cultivators. 27th uncle will need to rely on Blood Shadow's intelligence to investigate the industries and drive away the itinerant cultivators who casually occupy the industries. We'll have to trouble you." Wang Daojian waved his hand. "Don't worry, Your Majesty. Intelligence is only a small matter. We're all working for the family, so this is nothing. I'll arrange for the intelligence personnel in the Shanbei and Qingli branches to help second brother and the others." There's also the branches in Linhai Prefecture and Starfall Plain that haven't been activated yet. I still have to help Mingji and Mingkong set up the branches. Wang Mingchen said with a smile, I'll have to trouble Imperial Uncle with these matters. If you need any help, don't hesitate to ask. The Imperial Court will provide the greatest help. After Wang Daojian left, he said again, Third Uncle, I'll leave the matter of the investigation to you. Chapter 906. Wang Daochang cupped his hands. Don't worry, I'll go tell my second brother and Dezhao. After leaving the Imperial study, he arrived at the Guardian Hall. As the Deputy Hall Master of the Guardian Hall, Wang Daoxing was usually here to deal with official business when the Hall Master wasn't present. A boorish man working as a clerk here was stifling him to death. Seeing Wang Daochang arrive, he hurriedly asked, Do you have some work for me to do? The Imperial Court wants to establish a merchant guild. In the future, we'll use the guild's name to develop the industries within the territory. His Majesty plans to investigate the industries within the territory. One reason is to get a clear idea of the family's background, and the other is to chase away those wandering cultivators who have taken over the family's industries without permission. We'll need to mobilize the Guardian Hall's cultivators for this. You're in the middle of it. Hearing this, Wang Daoxing was overjoyed. He tossed aside the brush in his hand. I can finally go out and do something. I've been stifled. I'll mobilize the Guardian Hall's men and use the wandering cultivators for practice. I'll also go find Dezhao. He's been traveling for decades and has plenty of experience in dealing with wandering cultivators. It'll be much better to bring him along when dealing with wandering cultivators. Afterwards, he used a jade talisman to send a message to Wang Dezhao, telling him to wait at the formation hall. Upon arriving, Wang Dezhao and the Deputy Hall Master, Wang Mingjue, were already waiting for him. The formation hall master was Wang Shouzhe. However, he spent most of his time at Jade Spring Peak, working with Zhao Liang to forge flying warships and golems. He rarely cared about the formation hall, so the Deputy Hall Master, Wang Mingjue, was in charge of the daily affairs. Wang Mingjue's talent wasn't bad either. He was a 3 spiritual root cultivator with a 7-inch primary spiritual root and was already at the late Zifu stage. He was one of the first disciples Wang Shouzhe had trained in the field of formations. His mastery of formations had already reached the low-grade 4th level. Seeing Wang Daochang enter, the two bowed. Greetings, third uncle, third grandfather. No need for formalities. His Majesty wants us to investigate the various industries of the family. The formation hall's men are skilled in prospecting. You'll work with the Guardian Hall. Dezhao, you and second brother will work together. If there are any wandering cultivators who take over the family's industries, you'll have to deal with them. Half a day later, the cultivators from the Guardian Hall and Array Formation Hall gathered together. They even brought along a few intelligence personnel from the Blood Shadow Azure branch. Of course, these people were also disciples of the Wang clan. Everyone boarded a dozen flying boats and flew towards the southeast. Once they reached the Wanchuan River, they would head north to search. First, he searched the most important heaven/mountain range, then looked at the other places to see if they were occupied. From the heavenly/mountain range's main vein to the edge, it was 7,000 to 8,000 kilometers wide. There were also many spirit veins within. Naturally, there were many places where there might be minerals. Everyone needed to use the compass to explore the mineral veins. If they were to investigate bit by bit, the entire range of the sky/mountain range would be enough to torment them for 100 or 80 years. Of course, they were not completely blind. Wang Mingchen had a map of the Valley of Beasts, which recorded the locations of many mineral veins. What they needed to do was to follow the records on the map to find out the situation of the mineral veins. Even so, investigating the situation within the sky/mountain range still took a full 2 years. The Wang clan had always attached great importance to the industries within the heaven/mountain range and would often send cultivators to patrol. Although those rogue cultivators were greedy, they weren't fools. They knew that this was the Wang clan's backyard. Whoever dared to touch it would die. However, no rogue cultivator dared to casually occupy a spirit vein and establish a force. From the north bank of the Wanchuan River, they searched all the way to the boundary between the human race and the demon race north of the mountain. There were tens of thousands of large and small spirit veins, as well as hundreds of level 4 and level 5 spirit veins. Mineral veins were harder to find. After a rough sweep according to the map, they found thousands of level 4 and above mineral veins. Among them, there were many spirit stone mines. Spirit stones were not only currency, but also cultivation resources. It wouldn't be a problem to find a random spirit vein and develop it, earning hundreds of thousands or even millions of spirit stones every year. After investigating the sky/mountain range, they began to investigate the situation in Guiyuan County. The rogue cultivators here were more daring. A late-stage Foundation establishment rogue cultivator dared to occupy a level 3 spirit vein, set up a formation, and claim it as his own property. These people were relying on the fact that no one cared about them, but in fact, they were still afraid of death. The flying warship flew to the top of the mountain, and Wang Daoist shouted, "This is the territory of the Yen Kingdom. All the spirit veins belong to the Yen Kingdom. You occupying the spirit veins without permission is trespassing on the territory of the Yen Kingdom. If you know what's good for you, remove the formation and leave." These rogue cultivators were not brave enough. In front of the Wang clan's golden core cultivators and the level 4 flying warship, they didn't dare to be arrogant at all. They obediently apologized, put away the formation disc, and left the spirit vein. The rogue cultivators to the west of Guiyuan County were similar. As long as they were scared, they would leave. They flew along the northern foot of Guiyuan Mountain for hundreds of thousands of miles due west. At this time, the south of Guiyuan Mountain was the territory of the Wei Kingdom. The rogue cultivators here were very daring, especially the Zifu realm cultivators. Most of the level 4 spirit veins had been occupied. In the northern part of the mountain, there were very few Zifu realm rogue cultivators. After all, at this level, they could join any faction and be put in an important position. Even if they offended a major faction, they could join another faction. A large number of Zifu realm rogue cultivators suddenly appeared here. It was very likely that some faction was testing the Wang clan's bottom line. The flying warship arrived at a small mountain range that stretched for more than 500 miles from east to west. This mountain was called Six Tigers Mountain. It had 6 relatively high peaks. In the past, each peak was occupied by a tiger-type demon beast. Of course, no demon beast dared to come out and seek death. The spirit vein of Six Tigers Mountain was not low grade. It was already mid-level 4 and very close to high level 4. In the future, it would not be impossible for it to reach level 5. Every peak of Six Tigers Mountain was occupied by Zifu realm cultivators who had set up formations. Some were even recruiting disciples. Wang Daoist walked to the bow and shouted, "This is the territory of the Yen Kingdom. If you leave this place immediately, the Yen Kingdom will let bygones be bygones. If you persist, none of you will be left alive." A middle-aged peak Zifu realm cultivator flew out of Six Tigers Mountain and cupped his hands towards Wang Daoist. "Senior from the Yen Kingdom, the spirit veins here are all ownerless and are hundreds of thousands of miles away from the Yen Kingdom. Senior, you say that this is the territory of the Yen Kingdom. Aren't you going too far?" Wang Dezhao used his divine sense to check and said to Wang Daoist, "Second Grandpa, this guy is not a rogue cultivator. I'm very familiar with his aura. He should be cultivating the cultivation method of the mountain suppressing sect of the Wei Kingdom. This mountain suppressing sect is one of the major forces of the Wei Kingdom. Its mountain gate is south of Mount Huiyan. Although it is impossible to fly over Mount Huiyan, there are small mountain paths connecting the north and south. These people should be ordered by the higher-ups of the mountain suppressing sect to occupy this place. You don't know much about this sect. Let me talk to him." Wang Daoist nodded. Wang Dezhao said with a smile, "Junior from the mountain suppressing sect, don't you know that the Wind Snow Deity Palace and the Yen Kingdom share the northern part of the mountain?" "Of course I've heard about it, but that's only to protect these places and help the human forces resist the demon race. If this place is protected by the Yen Kingdom, the territory will belong to the Yen Kingdom. I'm afraid that the entire Beiyuan will be divided by the 5 major forces. Besides, the Qin kingdom also occupies the wind snow deity palace's territory in the northern part of the mountain. I've never heard that the wind snow deity palace wants to attack the Qin kingdom. This was blatant moral coercion. The top forces were regarded as the guardians of the human race. When the demon race invaded, they had to use their lives to block the demon race and couldn't get any benefits. Hearing this, Wang Daoxing was so angry that he was about to make a move. Wang Dezhao quickly stopped him and said with a smile, "When did the northern part of the mountain become the territory of the Wei kingdom?" The Qin kingdom occupied a part of the northern part of the mountain because they begged the wind snow deity palace. When the West Sea demon race rebelled, Daoist Wang Lin personally led people to the archaic mystery sect. After that, a county was trampled by the West Sea demon race. The human race and the demon race negotiated peace and obtained a large amount of land. That was also due to the Qin kingdom. May I ask what your mountain-suppressing sect has done for the human race? Chapter 907. The mountain suppression sect cultivator was at a loss for words. After a moment of silence, he said, "The Yen kingdom didn't set up a prefecture here. How can they leave so many spirit veins empty just by talking? Since the border with the demons was drawn, the human territory is south of the border. As long as it's a human force, they can occupy it. The Zhao kingdom also occupies the 10,000 Dragon Mountain. The Song, Qi, Chu, and other countries also occupy part of the heaven/mountain range. If they can occupy it, why can't my mountain suppression sect?" The mountain suppression sect was determined to take it for free. They were shameless. Wang Dezhao had also traveled outside for many years and had seen all kinds of shameless people. This was nothing. Whoever fights for the territory has the right to dispose of it. The Zhao kingdom occupied the 10,000 Dragon Mountain in exchange for Linhai state. As for the other forces, they occupied the territory without informing the Yen kingdom. Those who contributed to the fight against the demons can be tolerated. If you didn't contribute to the fight against the demons, when my 7th granduncle is free, he will come to you one by one. If your mountain suppression sect makes contributions and occupies a territory, it's understandable. But before the two sides come to an agreement, your mountain suppression sect will be a coward. After my 7th granduncle intimidated the demons, you didn't dare to kill the scattered demons and let them run rampant in the north of the mountain. You're as timid as a mouse when facing the enemy, but you're quite bold to snatch the human territory. If you don't have the righteousness of the human race in your heart, how can such a force have the face to live in the world? When the ancient mighty ordered the 5 top forces to protect the humans in Beiyuan, he also gave them the authority to govern the human forces. The Yen kingdom is recognized by the 4 top forces to replace the Valley of Beasts to guard the heaven/mountain range. Naturally, we have the authority. Today, the Yen kingdom will punish the mountain suppression sect on behalf of the human race. After saying that, a gourd appeared in his hand. It was Wang Daoyuan's meteorite fire controlling gourd. The gourd spat out golden flames. The defensive array on the 6 Tigers Mountain couldn't withstand a single blow from this flame. The Scarlet Yang True Fire in the meteorite fire controlling gourd was given to Wang Dezhao by Wang Daoyuan previously for him to comprehend the fire attribute law. Although it was a rootless fire, its foundation was still a level 5 flame. The country of Yan's Qingli County was relatively close to the heavenly/mountain range, and there was still a thin layer of stage 5 spirit energy spreading over. With the nourishment of stage 5 spirit qi and the protection of the meteorite fire controlling gourd, its power was barely maintained. A middle-grade Tier 4 defensive array formation was nothing at all under the power of a Tier 5 spirit fire. That Zifu disciple of the mountain suppression sect was so shocked that his jaw dropped. The reason he dared to be so arrogant was because he felt that Wang Dezhao and the others wouldn't be able to break this formation. However, he didn't expect the source of his confidence to be gone just like that. Wang Dezhao sneered and said, "Now, do you still dare to be unyielding with me?" After saying that, he controlled the flames to continue attacking the 6 Tigers Mountain. At this moment, a yellow-robed cultivator flew out from the 6 Tigers Mountain. This person had a head of white hair, and he didn't look young. His cultivation was at the late stage of the Golden Core realm. Daoyu, why are you bullying the younger generation? If you really want to fight, how about I spar with the two Daoyu? Before he could finish his words, a yellow seal appeared in his hand. Wang Dezhao glanced at it and transmitted his voice to Wang Daoxing. Second Grandpa, the mountain suppression sect cultivators are best at using the power of suppression. I'm a fire attribute cultivator. Although the fire is violent, it's superficial. Although the meteorite fire controlling gourd is brilliant, it's only a middle-grade Tier 4 magic artifact. Under the power of suppression, it can't exert much of its power. We'll have to rely on you and this middle-grade Tier 4 flying warship to deal with him. Wang Daoxing nodded slightly and took out a silver sword. Wang Dezhao retracted the flames that were burning the formation and injected spirit chi into the meteorite fire controlling gourd, ready to attack at any time. The flying warship's defensive array was activated, and all kinds of offensive and defensive magic artifacts were revealed. Wang Daoxing didn't have the mood to waste time with him. He waved his sword and several silver lights slashed out. He was an early-stage golden core cultivator, and there was a big gap between his strength and the yellow-robed old man's. The yellow-robed old man's seal emitted several rays of yellow light and easily blocked the silver lights. Wang Dezhao extracted the flames from the gourd and condensed a reddish-gold fireball. The yellow-robed old man took out his seal and released the power of suppression to suppress the fireball. Although the flames were strong, they wouldn't attack on their own. In the end, Wang Dezhao still had to control it. He wasn't strong enough and the flames couldn't fly over. It was like a 3-year-old child holding a peerless divine weapon. No matter how strong the divine weapon was, the 3-year-old child wouldn't be able to use it. The flying warship didn't show any weakness and several rays of golden light flew out. The yellow-robed old man didn't dare to take it head-on and quickly used an escape technique to dodge. Wang Dezhao took the opportunity to control the fireball, and it exploded about 200 feet away from him. The reddish-gold flames turned into countless sparks and flew everywhere. The yellow-robed old man couldn't completely dodge the sparks and his robe was stained with a few small sparks. His yellow robe wasn't simple. It was a high-grade Tier 4 defensive magic artifact. But under the reddish-gold flames, it was instantly burned into a few holes and the fire was still spreading. He didn't dare to delay and quickly got rid of the yellow robe. The other sparks landed on the mountain and burned a lot of spirit plants. Wang Dezhao controlled the meteorite fire controlling gourd and retracted the flames. The yellow-robed old man revealed a greedy look. This flame is indeed extraordinary. Your gourd hasn't recognized an owner and can't use the true power of this flame. Wang Dezhao smiled. It hasn't recognized an owner. The owner of this gourd is my 7th great-uncle, the retired emperor of the Yan kingdom. If you like it, I can give it to you. Hearing this, the old man's expression changed greatly. Cultivators rarely gave their magic artifacts to others. Usually, only the juniors they valued could get the magic artifacts of their elders to protect themselves. The golden core cultivator in front of him was definitely not simple. Although he was strong, he was an earth attribute cultivator and his attack power was only SOSO. Against 2 early-stage golden core cultivators and a mid-grade Tier 4 flying warship, the possibility of defeating them was not high. Even if he won, so what? The Yan kingdom had many ways to deal with the Xianxia sect. He wanted to stand on the moral high ground and make the Wang family hesitate, but he didn't expect the Yan kingdom to not fall for it. He smiled apologetically and said, "How would I dare to take the magic weapon of the retired emperor of the Yan kingdom? Since it is the retired emperor's descendant that has come. My Xianxia sect is willing to hand over our territory, but please give us some time." Wang Dezhao replied, "We've been busy for hundreds of thousands of miles. We need to return and report to His Majesty and bring 7th great-uncle's golden crow over. If you haven't retreated by the time we come back, then you'll have to face my golden crow. You should know that in front of a 5th-grade golden crow, the power of my flame is just SOSO. After saying this, he ignored the yellow-robed old man and headed east. Wang Daoxing asked, "Dezhao, we haven't lost. Why are we leaving?" Wang Dezhao sighed. We're only hundreds of thousands of miles west of Guiyuan County, and there's already a late-stage golden core cultivator guarding us. But there's still more than 200,000 miles of territory to the west. The Xianxia sect is not the only greedy one. With our strength, there's not much use in continuing west. As for what to do, it's up to His Majesty to decide. Although Wang Daoxing was reckless, he had lived for nearly 400 years and knew his limits. He wasn't good at scheming, so he listened to smart people. The flying ship flew east and returned to Qingli City a day later. Wang Daoxing and Wang Dezhao entered the imperial study in the palace to meet Wang Mingchen. Wang Dezhao took out a beast skin book. Your Majesty, the map of Tianzhan Mountain Range, Guiyuan County, and the spirit veins and mines to the west are all here. We met people from the Xianxia sect of Wei Kingdom at Six Tigers Mountain. They sent golden core cultivators to manage Six Tigers Mountain, and we fought with them. He knew that the magic artifact in my hand belonged to 7th great uncle, so he didn't dare to continue fighting. He promised to withdraw from Six Tigers Mountain as soon as possible. If we head west, the spirit veins will become stronger. We don't have the confidence to win, so we didn't explore west. Your Majesty, please decide what to do. Wang Mingchen nodded. You've done well. Go and rest for a few days. Next time, bring Father's scarlet feather crow. Among the humans in Beiyuan, there aren't many who can defeat the scarlet feather crow. The countries near Shanbei are all small countries. No one can deal with him. Chapter 908. Ever since the red-feathered crow broke through to rank 5, he was unwilling to return to the space of the spiritual pearl. His favorite thing was to bask in the sun on the top of Iron Screen Mountain at the border between the Yan Kingdom and the Zhao Kingdom in Heian County. As expected of the Golden Crow bloodline, he could continue to improve his cultivation by basking in the sun every day. His cultivation speed was not slow either. Although there was a gap between his cultivation speed and that of human geniuses, he was far faster than a half-divine beast. Wang Daoyuan also asked him to patrol the Wang family's territory when he was free. The golden crow was also a divine bird known for its extreme speed. With a cultivation of low-grade rank 5, its flying speed was almost comparable to the mid-grade rank 5 gray rock. Because his strength had increased during the day and he could quickly recover his spiritual power, he was only slightly inferior to the gray rock. In the entire Beiyuan Xiuxian, only the 4 top forces plus the sect masters of Zhou Kingdom and Blood Shadow could defeat him with their legendary Dharma artifacts. Wang Dezhao and the rest rested in Qingli City for more than half a month before they set off again with the red-feathered crow. The red-feathered crow was unwilling to fly a distance of hundreds of thousands of miles. He restrained the flames on his body and lay on the top of the flying warship to bask in the sun. He did not look as majestic as a golden crow and looked like an ordinary crow. The flying warship flew to the Six Tigers Mountain. The cultivators of the mountain suppression sect ran fast. There was no one left on the mountain. Even the buildings were all demolished and the spiritual plants in the spiritual fields were all taken away. Wang Daoxing was amused when he saw the situation. Wasn't the mountain suppression sect quite tough? Why did they run away so quickly? Wang Dezhao smiled. The mountain suppression sect is not very strong in the Wei Kingdom. There are only 4 or 5 golden core cultivators in the sect. They only dare to reach the north of the mountain because they are close to the Huiyan Mountain and guard a narrow path through the mountain. Just that bit of wealth of theirs is simply not worth mentioning in front of our Wang family. Moreover, the Wei Kingdom is in a state of disintegration. If any force suffers a great loss, they will be taken advantage of. The Wei Kingdom's royal family is also a member of the Zhou family. If the emperor talks to the Wei Kingdom, both sides will deal with the mountain suppression sect together. The Wei Kingdom will be happy to destroy the mountain suppression sect and take over all their properties. The flying warship continued to explore the east. From time to time, cultivators would summon their flying ships and leave the flying warship to explore other industries. Perhaps it was because the commotion last time was too big that even the mountain-suppressing sect had fled. The rogue cultivators here did not dare to go against the Yan Kingdom. Within 20 to 30,000 miles, there were no more spirit veins occupied by rogue cultivators. As they continued to head west, there were some forces from other countries that had occupied some spirit veins. Wang Dezhao stepped forward to negotiate, and this group of people was beginning to be unwilling to give up their territory. Moreover, his words were very tough, and he didn't even hesitate to fight with Wang Dezhao and the others. The red-feathered crows turned into a golden sun and circled around the mountain. After that, their attitude changed drastically. Not only did he agree to retreat immediately, he even left behind many good things as a reward for Wang Dezhao and the others. Of course, as the royal family of the Yan Kingdom, how could they covet such a small profit? However, the other party left in a hurry and did not have time to take some things away. The Yan Kingdom helped them keep it. Although Shanbei's territory was larger, it did not have many spiritual veins and mineral veins. It only took them a year to record all the spiritual veins in the north of the mountain. Then the flying warship brought the group back to Qingli City. Wang Dezhao and Wang Daoxing came to the imperial study in the palace. Wang Mingji and Wang Mingkong were also here. Wang Dezhao once again presented the map of all the spiritual veins in Shanbei. Wang Mingchen smiled and said, "The industries in the Yan Kingdom have finally been investigated. The Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce has also set up a framework and is waiting to develop the industries. Brothers, take a look and see which industries are more suitable to develop." Wang Mingji smiled and said, "Although I am good at managing money, in terms of business, my knowledge is far inferior to Mingkong's. He is still the head of the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce. Let him decide." Wang Mingkong did not refuse. He took the map of the spiritual veins and looked at it carefully. The headquarters of the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce is in this Qingli City. The industries here are all ours, and there is nothing to develop. Coincidentally, Qingli City is also a place where business travels gather. I plan to set up an auction house here to collect treasures. At the same time, I will also do some reselling business. I can also gather the cultivators with higher alchemy, equipment, and talisman array skills in the headquarters. The Wanchuan market has a large number of empty spiritual veins. It is also an important market that connects to Linhai State. There are many rogue cultivators coming and going. Other than a small number of spiritual veins and mines, the clan disciples will develop them personally. The rest of the spiritual veins can be sent by the Chamber of Commerce to develop spiritual fields. Even the planted spiritual grains can be sold for a good price. It will be good enough if we can make use of these spiritual veins within 30 years. There are no mines in Linhai State, but there are many rogue cultivators. We can mainly focus on transportation. We can buy all kinds of sea specialties from those rogue cultivators who go out to sea to hunt and transport them to other places to sell. The Shanbei branch of the Guiyan market could be said to be the center of the entire Shanbei. The clan does not plan to occupy the surrounding spiritual veins and mines. They can all be managed by the Chamber of Commerce. Especially the Blood Wolf Mountain and Clear Stream Mountain that are close to the Sky/Mountain Range in the east. They do not have any high-value spiritual veins, but the spiritual veins are of high quality and can be developed into many spiritual fields. As for the Starfall Plain, the governor of the Starfall County is the leader of the Green Jade Dragon tribe. The entire county is a place to settle down half-demons. There are not many spiritual veins and mines. The more valuable ones have already been given to the various half-demon tribes. The Starfall Plain is deep in the desert and is not suitable for developing spiritual fields. For now, we will mainly buy raw materials, sell Dharma artifacts, pills, and the like. Wang Shui nodded. Mingkong's general plan is good. We can earn a lot of profits in the early stages and do not need the imperial court to invest too much. Wang Mingchen nodded and said, "Let's do that then." Before he finished speaking, Wang Delin walked in from outside. He bowed and said, "Your Majesty, I received news that the Song Nation's envoy requests an audience. He has already arrived at the Wanchuan market." Wang Mingchen was stunned and asked, "Do we have any dealings with the Song Nation?" Wang Shui shook his head and said, "Not much, but the Song Nation sent gifts here. As for friendship, there is no such thing. We even fought before. The only thing that can be connected is the Zhao Nation's problem. Ever since Zhao Jinghua and Zhao Lingshao broke through to the Yuaning state, The Song nation has been very obedient. The Song nation only has one Yuanian cultivator, Song Yen. Even with the legacy Dharma artifact, he is no match for the Zhao nation. Now, he does not even dare to interfere with the Sixth Prince's small imperial court. The Zhao nation also has no plans to attack the Song nation. As for why Envoy Song is here, I am not sure. No matter what, we cannot be disrespectful. Third uncle, go and receive Envoy Song. Wang Daochang cupped his hands and said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Then, he took a flying ship to the Wanchuan market to receive Envoy Song and brought him to Qingli City. Half a day later, the flying ship returned. Wang Daocheng brought back a middle-aged late-stage Oris core cultivator. This person was dressed in a black robe with black bird patterns on it. This was a pattern that only the direct descendants of the Song clan could wear. Wang Mingchen received Envoy Song in the Huangji Hall. Wang Daocheng brought Envoy Song to the hall. Envoy Song bowed and said, "I am Song Ren. I am here on the orders of the Song Emperor to meet the Yen Emperor." Wang Mingchen waved his hand gently. "Envoy Song, there is no need to be so courteous. May I know why the Song Emperor sent you here?" Song Ren answered, "Previously, during the peace talks between the human race and the demon race, most of the demons east of the Heaven/Mountain Range retreated there. The northeastern part of the Song nation borders the Heaven/Mountain Range. The Emperor sent people to occupy some of the spirit veins at the southern foot of the 10,000 Dragon Mountain." Chapter 909. Upon hearing this, the Yen nation's people exchanged glances. The kingdom of Song was well informed. The kingdom of Song already knew about the situation in Shanbei. However, the Song Emperor had changed a lot. Back then he was fearless. Even if he could not win, he would fight to the end. Now, the Yen nation did not say anything. Only Wang Dezhao mentioned it when dealing with the mountain suppression sect cultivators. In the future, when Wang Daoyuan was free, he would personally go and take back the territories occupied by the various nations. As for how to deal with them, no one knew. Unexpectedly, the Song nation took the initiative to come and ask for forgiveness as soon as they received the news. Wang Mingchen did not give a direct answer. The Heavenly/Mountain Range is very important. I do not dare to make a decision rashly. First, please stay at the Honglu Temple. I will give you a reply after discussing with the other officials. Song Ren performed a cupped fist salute and said, "This official will take his leave." Then he followed Wang Daocheng out of the Imperial Hall and headed for the Honglu Temple outside the Imperial City. Wang Mingchen thought for a while. Previously, Imperial Father planned to exchange benefits with the various nations for the Heavenly/Mountain Range south of the Wan River. He should not have any other plans for these places. Now, these nations did not even greet us and directly took over these territories. After all, these nations fought against the demonic beasts and made some contributions. If we insist on taking them back, we will appear unreasonable. However, if we do not do anything, it will not be appropriate. Previously, the Zhao nation used Linhai province to exchange for territory. Now that it is given to the other nations for free, the Zhao nation will inevitably have some thoughts. What do you all think? Wang Shui answered, "Previously, Daoyuan intended to exchange benefits. However, what benefits can the Song nation offer? If the Zhao nation used territory to exchange, it would not be easy for us to get territory since we do not share a border with the Song nation. We would even incur the Song nation's hatred. We do not lack spirit stones, inheritances, materials, and the like. There is no point in asking for these things." Wang Mingkong's eyes lit up. "Your Majesty, this official has an idea. It is not good to take back these territories. The Song nation cannot use its territories to exchange. Why don't we let them maintain the status quo and keep the territories they already occupied and not take over new territories? Of course, we cannot let them occupy these territories for free. We still have to exchange benefits, allow the Myriad Rivers Merchant Association to do business there. Furthermore, the remaining territories would be developed in the name of the Merchant Association." The Song nation could not interfere and had to promise to protect the Merchant Association. This way, our plan of using the Chamber of Commerce to expand to other countries will be a big step forward. Wang Mingji nodded repeatedly. That is a good idea. If the Song nation agrees to this, we can make it a tradition, taking some territories that were inconvenient to occupy in exchange for other countries' permission to do business there. The Qi nation in the east of the Song nation, the Wu nation in the south, and a few smaller nations in the vicinity all occupied some territory. We can also take this opportunity to extend the influence of the Chamber of Commerce to the southern wasteland. The royal families of the Wei state, the Zheng state, and the Zhou state in the west were all members of the Zhou family. They were all related to the Empress Dowager. The retired emperor had a good relationship with them, so doing business shouldn't be a problem. In this way, it will probably only take 100 or 200 years for the Chamber of Commerce's sphere of influence to cover the various countries. Wang Mingchen nodded. Then let's do it this way. Exchanging a portion of our territory for their protection isn't a bad idea. The state of Zhao's side was also reasonable. After all, they had taken the most territory. Our Yan nation and the state of Zhao have many historical connections. We also have a good relationship. It shouldn't be a problem for the Chamber of Commerce to use the Zhao nation's territory. If no one has any objections, let's reply to the Song nation as such. Wang Shui shook his head and said, "We cannot rush this matter." Wang Daochang had already returned to the imperial hall. He smiled and said, "There is no rush. Let's leave Envoy Song hanging for a while. Song Yen has a serious flaw in his character. When there are benefits to be gained, he does not care about the consequences. Although he fears seventh brother and does not dare to openly make things difficult for us, when he comes to the Chamber of Commerce, he will do business there. But in the future, when the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce does business near the Song Kingdom, if he wants to play some tricks, we can't do anything about it. We cannot send all our assets to the south of the 10,000 Dragon Mountain to watch over the Song nation. If we let him think that it is too easy, he will think that our Yen nation cannot do anything to him and have other thoughts. Why don't we leave Envoy Song hanging for now and let him think that we want to deal with him but let him off because we don't want to cause trouble?" Everyone revealed smiles. Wang Shui smiled and said, "Daochang's method is still the best. Song Yen has a great flaw in his character. He is rather conceited. We still need to intimidate him so that he'll behave himself." For more than a month, Wang Mingchen did not summon Envoy Song again. This made Envoy Song feel very uneasy. On the other hand, Wang Daochang often went to the Honglu Temple to chat with him. However, they did not talk about anything substantial. Whenever Envoy Song asked about the 10,000 Dragon Mountain, Wang Daochang would change the topic. As a result, Envoy Song felt even more uncertain. After 2 months, Envoy Song could not take it anymore and insisted on meeting the Yen Emperor. Wang Daochang appeared to be in a difficult position, but he was very happy in his heart. However, with Envoy Song's insistence, it would be rude if Wang Mingchen did not meet him. Wang Daochang pretended to be in a difficult position. After thinking for a long time, he brought Envoy Song to meet Wang Mingchen. When they arrived at the Imperial Hall, Envoy Song quickly bowed and said, "Your Majesty, the Song nation took over part of the 10,000 Dragon Mountains territory unintentionally. The Song nation is willing to compensate the Yen nation for its losses. Please be magnanimous and forgive the Song nation's mistake." Wang Shui snorted coldly. "The Yen nation took over these territories at the risk of our lives. The Wang clan lost hundreds of disciples and more than 100,000 mortals. The retired emperor had to travel between the West Sea, the East Sea, and Shanbei. The Song nation took over the Yen nation's territory without even a greeting. Are you looking down on the Yen nation?" Hearing this, Envoy Song turned pale with fright. If not for the fact that he was an envoy representing the Song nation, he would have knelt down. If Wang Shui played the bad cop, Wang Mingchen would have to play the good cop. "Envoy Song, there is no need to panic. The demon race still has a lot of power. As the guardian of the East, the Yen nation naturally prioritizes suppressing the demon race. We do not wish for the human race to have internal conflicts. However, some of the elders in the clan are too stubborn. After all, the Wang clan used their lives to exchange for these territories. If not for my father's reluctance, my elders would have already attacked the Song nation. The Yen nation has established the 10,000 Rivers Merchant Guild. You should have heard of this, right? To deal with someone like Envoy Song, one had to use both the carrot and the stick. The two were putting on a two-man show. Envoy Song was in a tight spot. Song Ren nodded repeatedly. I did hear about the 10,000 Rivers Merchant Guild in the past few months at the Honglu Temple. The 10,000 Rivers Merchant Guild's goal is to develop industries and sell the specialties of the Yen nation to other places to earn some profits. The 10,000 Rivers Merchant Guild also plans to develop the heavenly/mountain range that borders the Song, Qi, and Wu kingdoms. The Yen nation can choose not to take back the territories that your Yen nation occupied. However, the Song nation is not allowed to take over new territories. Furthermore, when the 10,000 Rivers Merchant Guild develops industries there, the Song nation needs to protect them. The Song nation cannot stop the 10,000 Rivers Merchant Guild from doing business in the Song nation. When Song Ren heard this, he felt like he had been pardoned. Wang Shui continued to show anger. Your Majesty, this, Wang Mingchen said coldly, I have already decided on this matter. This is also my father's intention. Wang Shui snorted coldly and left the imperial hall with a flick of his sleeve. Only then did Song Ren release his bated breath. Yen Emperor, rest assured. My Song nation agrees to all these conditions. Wang Mingchen nodded. Third uncle, you can discuss the details of this matter with Envoy Song. Wang Daochang performed a cupped fist salute and said, this official obeys. After that, he led Song Ren out of the palace and returned to the Honglu Temple to discuss the details of the cooperation. Chapter 9-10. When Wang Shui returned to the Imperial Hall, Wang Mingchen could no longer hold back his laughter. 12th uncle, you are really good at fooling people. Envoy Song was so frightened that he broke out in a sweat. From the looks of it, he will agree to any request third uncle makes. Wang Shui waved his hand and said, in this aspect, your father is the expert. Back then, when he was under the underworld sect, that traitor Luo Juyo believed that Daoyuan was loyal to the underworld sect. Hopefully, this act can fool Song Yen. Working with this fellow is too unreliable. 3 days later, Wang Daochang brought Song Ren to the Imperial Hall again. Wang Mingchen and Wang Delin were handling official matters in the hall. Wang Shui did not come at all. Song Ren held 2 golden books in his hands and said, Your Majesty, this is the agreement between the 2 nations that Marquis Qing Yun and I discussed. Your Majesty, please take a look. Wang Delin stepped forward and received the 2 golden books, presenting them to Song Ren. Wang Mingchen looked through the 2 golden books and noted all the properties that the Song nation had already occupied. According to the agreement, the Song nation occupied the southernmost part of the 10,000 Dragon Mountain, which was only about 1/10 of the entire 10,000 Dragon Mountain. The Song nation had already exchanged about 1/3 of the northern part of the 10,000 Dragon Mountain with the Zhao nation. Most of the 10,000 Dragon Mountain was still in the Yen nation's hands. Exchanging this bit of land for the 10,000 Rivers Merchant Association to enter the Song nation was not bad. At the same time, the agreement stipulated that if the 10,000 Rivers Merchant Association was attacked by other factions in the future, the Song Emperor would have to help. Naturally, this agreement was very beneficial to the Yen nation. They could not control the 10,000 Dragon Mountain in the first place. Now, with the Song nation's help, the Yen nation could obtain 2 additional territories the size of Qingli County. These territories were within the heavenly/mountain range and were extremely rich. Of course, the Song nation did not suffer any losses. The Yen nation recognized the territories that they occupied. This was a true expansion of their territory. Wang Mingchen looked at the 2 golden books and thought carefully. He was not in a rush to speak. This made Song Ren somewhat anxious, fearing that the Yen nation would not agree to this agreement. He wanted to say something, but he felt that it would be rude. After a long time, Wang Mingchen said, let's do it according to this agreement. After saying that, he took out the jade seal and stamped it. Although the material of the golden book was extremely hard, it was still easily imprinted by the imperial jade seal. According to the rules, each side had to take one of the two golden books, and each book had to have the seals of the two emperors. These two golden books were brought by Song Ren, and they already had Emperor Song's seal on them. Wang Lin picked up a golden book and handed it to Song Ren. After exchanging a few more pleasantries, Song Yao took his leave. At this moment, in the Zhou family's courtyard at the Blood Shadow headquarters, Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian, the two little guys, each sat on a futon. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan stared at them. Soon, Wang Mingxian opened her eyes. "Father, mother, I feel a wave of heat flowing in my stomach." Zhou Luan was overjoyed and quickly used her spiritual sense to check Wang Mingxian's body. Mingxian's dantian does indeed contain wood elemental spiritual energy. It only took a little more than 2 hours. Her talent is better than Mingxian's. Back then, it took Mingxian 3 hours to cultivate qi. The two little guys were now 5 years old, and they had eaten a lot of good food since they were young. Not to mention breast milk, they could also eat some of the spiritual items that Zhou Luan usually ate. In terms of living conditions, Wang Mingxian's childhood couldn't be compared to now. He was just 5 years old, but his physical fitness was already stronger than that of a 10-year-old child. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan let them start cultivating. Wang Mingxian cultivated qi and officially embarked on the path of cultivation. Her physique was strange. It was very similar to the wood spiritual body, but it had a strong vitality. Wang Mingxian had a 9-inch 7-point celestial spiritual root, but it took him 3 hours to cultivate qi. If it was only the celestial spiritual root, even if Wang Mingxian had a 1-foot celestial spiritual root, she couldn't be so fast. After all, not everyone could be compared to him. Therefore, her special physique was very likely to be a spiritual body. This matter was not urgent for the time being. When he returned to the Yen kingdom and let the two little guys acknowledge their ancestors, he would let the tool spirit of the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda take a look. He had lived for more than 200,000 years and was experienced and knowledgeable. He should be able to find some clues. After another hour, Wang Mingren also woke up from meditation. "Father, mother, there is a stream of heat flowing in my stomach, and it is a little swollen." He cultivated for half a cup of tea less than 3 hours, which was slightly better than Wang Mingxian. It seemed that Wang Mingren's spiritual root talent was better than Wang Mingxian's. Wang Daoyuan immediately used his divine sense to check his body. There was indeed a stream of metal spiritual power in his body. Moreover, this metal attribute spiritual energy was quite extraordinary, and it had a sharp aura. With this sharp qi, when he used metal spiritual power in the future, the lethality and the ability to break defense would be stronger. It wasn't rare for spiritual energy to contain a special power. Many cultivators' spiritual power had other powers. But these special powers were all due to the cultivation method. Wang Mingren's cultivation method was the most ordinary meridian unlocking technique. Logically speaking, the spiritual energy cultivated should be the most basic metal attribute spiritual energy, and there shouldn't be anything else. This sharp aura should have come from his special physique. He hadn't even cultivated any high-level cultivation technique, yet he had such an effect. In the future, when he cultivated the direct cultivation method of the White Tiger Hall in the Valley of Beasts, the sharp qi in his spiritual power would only be more. By then, he could casually use spiritual power, and the power of his spiritual power would be far greater than that of cultivators of the same level. Zhou Luan was already full of smiles and looked at Wang Daoyuan with disdain from time to time. Just as she was about to mock him, the Shadow Lord token received a message. She took out the token and checked it. "It's a message from Mingxian. Take a look." Wang Daoyuan took the token and checked the content. Wang Mingxian asked, "Mother, who is Mingxian?" "He is your eldest brother, the Emperor of the Yen Kingdom. He is more than 100 years older than you two and is a golden core cultivator." "Then when we go back, will he bully us?" Wang Mingren chimed in, "It's fine. If he bullies us, we will beat him together. With the two of us together, we can definitely beat him." Wang Mingxian also nodded seriously, making Zhou Luan laugh. Wang Mingxian, who was hundreds of thousands of miles away, did not know that two meridian unlocking brats were about to beat him up. After Wang Daoyuan read the message, he laughed. Wang Mingkong is quite capable. He can even think of such a despicable move. According to this plan, once the Qi Kingdom and the Wu Kingdom come to an agreement, the Su Kingdom, Zhongli Kingdom, and a few other smaller kingdoms will also come to us. This way, the Wanchuan Merchant Guild will be able to reach the southern wastelands from the north of the mountains. Zhou Luan sighed. Don't just look at the good. Trouble is coming. A few days ago, Zhang Dingming brought up the Merchant Guild again. He said that the Blood Shadow never cooperated with other large factions. Now that they are establishing a merchant guild with the Yan Kingdom, they are breaking the rules. Wang Daoyuan was somewhat disdainful. Zhang Dingming is really out of tricks. He can even come up with such a lame excuse. He still doesn't cooperate with other large factions. When the Kongming Mountain was besieged by the Blood-Eye Golden Winged Tiger and the Moon Howling Wolf, why didn't he mention this when he asked us for help? Zhou Luan laughed. He is also a shrewd person. He probably saw the Merchant Guild's potential. If we accept this situation, the other branches will follow suit and cooperate with the Wanchuan Merchant Guild. After the cooperation, the Blood Shadow branch will eat and drink from the Merchant Guild. In the future, will they listen to the Merchant Guild or the headquarters? However, there are only a few people who are farsighted. Other than the Zhang family, not many of the other elders agree. Wang Daoyuan nodded. It seems that Zhang Dingming's prestige has declined. It is time for us to launch a new round of attacks. Among the Zhang family elders with real power, who is the most unpopular? Let's expose what he has done. Then, we will remove his position and give it to an elder who is not a direct descendant. After getting rid of a few elders with real power, Zhang Dingming will be alone. Chapter 9-11. Zhou Luan nodded and asked, Naturally, it's not a problem to know the basic situation of the Zhang clan's elders. I even have the authority to check their cultivation methods and the condition of their spiritual roots. However, it would be extremely difficult to investigate their dark secrets. These things can't be made public, and I've only been at Blood Shadow for a few decades. I have some subordinates, but I can't plant spies everywhere. I really don't have the ability to collect the secrets of the Zhang clan's elders. With the Zhang clan's tens of thousands of years of foundation, Zhou Luan, a non-direct descendant of the Hall Master, had entered the headquarters as a Shadow Master. It was too difficult to investigate the Zhang clan's dirt. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, The one who understands you the most is always your enemy. You can't do anything to the Zhang clan, but that doesn't mean the Zhang clan's enemies can't do anything. Zhou Luan was stunned and asked, You mean the Su clan? Wang Daoyuan nodded. The two clans have been fighting for power for tens of thousands of years. Su Qinghe probably knows which concubine Zhang Dingming spends the night in and how long it takes. Without the Su clan's help, the two of us can only rely on our fists to take down the Zhang clan. Then I'll send a message to Su Qinghe now and ask him to come over for a discussion. Then he took out a jade talisman and sent a message. 15 minutes later, Su Qinghe arrived at the Zhou clan's small courtyard. As soon as he came in, Wang Daoyuan opened the formation in the small courtyard. Seeing Wang Daoyuan so careful, Su Qinghe was shocked. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, No need to be so alarmed. I asked you to come over to ask for your help. Su Qinghe cupped his hands and said, What's the matter? Please speak frankly, retired emperor. I'll do my best to help retired emperor. To be able to help Wang Daoyuan was to improve the relationship between the two clans. Naturally, he couldn't ask for more. It's nothing important. I just want to know which Su clan elder has the worst reputation in Blood Shadow's headquarters. Su Qinghe was a shrewd person. When he heard this, he immediately understood Wang Daoyuan's intention. My Su family and the Zhang family have been fighting for tens of thousands of years and have planted many spies in each other. He didn't dare to say anything else, but if he wanted to dig up dirt on one of the Zhang clan's elders and take the opportunity to get rid of him, it couldn't be easier. It was just that both sides were evenly matched before. Once these black materials were used, both sides would suffer. Both sides restrained each other and did not reveal these dark secrets. If retired emperor wants to cut off Zhang Dingming's left and right arms, I can offer up the Zhang family's dark secrets. It's just that once the Zhang clan retaliates, our Su clan will also suffer serious losses. Wang Daoyuan naturally understood what he meant. He was afraid that both sides would suffer. Zhou Luan said with a smile, the Su family should still have a few elders who have some qualifications. If there is a vacancy in an elder with real power, I, as the Shadow Lord, have the right to appoint an elder with sufficient qualifications to take over, and the Great Elder has no right to interfere. Wang Daoyuan continued, I'm sure Elder Su knows that the Yen Kingdom and the Blood Shadow Mountain's northern branch have joined forces to establish the Myriad Rivers Merchant Guild. As time goes by, we will need more manpower. What our Wang clan lacks the most is manpower. Hearing this, Su Qinghe's eyes lit up. Wang Daoyuan's words meant that the Yen Kingdom and the Myriad Rivers Merchant Guild would take in the Su clan's elders and entrust them with important tasks. Su Qinghe originally wanted a large number of clansmen to serve in the Yen Kingdom. Even the Su clan's future development would be based in the Yen Kingdom. He was just worried that sending too many people would arouse suspicion. Now that there was such a good opportunity, he naturally could not miss it. It's inevitable for cultivators to do some things that are not suitable to be exposed. The higher the position, the more so. The Zhang clan's elders have a lot of dark secrets. Among these elders, there are good and bad reviews. The most hated one is Zhang Dingming's younger brother, Zhang Ding. This person is the youngest in the Dingy generation of the Zhang clan. In addition, he has a celestial spiritual root and has been very favored since he was young. This also caused him to develop an extremely domineering personality. He entered the Blood Wolf Guild when he was young and became an elder with no duties when he was 200 years old. Later, Zhang Dingming arranged a position for him in the capital of the Shin Kingdom as a branch hall master. Although the Shin Kingdom is small, it is located at the junction of the Chu Kingdom, the Zhou Kingdom, and the Zheng Kingdom. It can be considered a prosperous place. He stayed there for more than 100 years and cultivated to the late stage of the Golden Core realm. After the finance elder passed away, Zhang Dingming transferred him back to the headquarters to serve as the finance elder. So far, he is only 500 years old, but has been the finance elder for 200 years. This guy has done a lot of bad things since he left the mountain. In the capital of the Shin Kingdom, he bullied the deputy hall master many times and even snatched the deputy hall master's daughter. In the end, he destroyed the deputy hall master's family and seized all of his property. This deputy hall master has a younger son who luckily escaped and is under the protection of the Su clan. He has evidence of Zhang Dingyi's crimes. I wonder if the retired emperor is satisfied with this evidence? Wang Daoyuan shook his head. It's too deliberate to directly reveal such a big piece of evidence. Su Qinghe immediately reacted. You want to reveal a small matter and arouse the dissatisfaction of the low-level cultivators of the Blood Shadow. Once the momentum of dealing with Zhang Dingyi had been built up, the Shadow Lord would then order a thorough investigation into this matter. Finally, you'll release the big news and make him unable to rise again forever? Wang Daoyuan nodded. In this way, the Shadow Master will follow the majority of the Blood Shadow disciples and dig out the parasites in the upper echelons. The Shadow Master's prestige will soar, while the Zhang clan's reputation will hit rock bottom. Su Qinghe laughed. There's no need to find these small pieces of evidence. Zhang Dingyi is famous for being greedy and lecherous. He has bullied those female disciples many times. When the Blood Shadow disciples are given their salaries, there are many cases of him taking bribes. If it weren't for Zhang Dingming's protection, this guy would have died countless times. Don't do it too deliberately. First, stir up this matter among the low-level disciples, then fan the flames in secret. Before the matter becomes big, the Su clan shouldn't make a move openly. When the crowd is riled up, it won't matter if we fan the flames openly. Understood? Just wait for my good news. After he finished speaking, he bowed and left. Zhou Luan sighed. This Su Qinghe doesn't usually do things so efficiently. Today, when he discussed these schemes with you, his brain spins faster than mine. If it weren't for the fact that I've been with you for so many years and know you well, I wouldn't have known. I don't think I understand what the two of you are talking about. This is called great minds think alike. Elder Su and I have gotten rid of this great evil for Blood Shadow. We deserve to be called heroes. Zhou Luan had a look of disdain. You're scheming against others behind their backs, yet you speak of it so righteously. However, if Zhang Dingming uses the Zhang clan's influence to forcefully protect Zhang Dingyi, what should we do? Do we have to lay our cards on the table with the Zhang clan in advance and fight them head-on? My Lord Shadow Master, you've been smart all your life, but stupid this time. If Zhang Dingming really gives up his face to protect Zhang Dingyi, then my mouth will be crooked from laughing. At that time, how will the elders look at Zhang Dingming? How will the Blood Shadow disciples look at Zhang Dingming? The prestige he has accumulated over hundreds of years will be lost overnight. The reason Zhang Dingming can fight for power with you is because of his prestige and the support of the Zhang clan faction. Without prestige, just the support of the Zhang clan is definitely not enough. If he gives up on Zhang Dingyi, then the elders of the Zhang clan faction will be bitterly disappointed. The Zhang clan faction isn't just made up of members of the Zhang clan. There are also many relatives and friends. If he gives up on even his own younger brother, will these outer members of the Zhang clan faction still wholeheartedly follow the Zhang clan? Zhou Luan's phoenix eyes were filled with excitement. So you're saying that the Zhang clan won't just lose an elder position with real power this time. They might also suffer heavy losses? Of course. The trap I've set for him is to block both ends. He has to give up either prestige or supporters. If he wants to safely avoid this trap, he has to completely suppress it before the momentum rises. With you, the Shadow Master, it's impossible for Zhang Dingming to use the power in his hands to harm Blood Shadow's interests. There's also the Su clan secretly fanning the wind and fanning the flames. If Zhang Dingming wants to suppress the momentum, it'll depend on whether he has the ability to do so. Chapter 9:12. The Hall of Treasures was located in Blood Shadow City, west of the Great Meeting Hall. It was usually a very lively place. After all, the cultivation resources of the Blood Shadow disciples came from this place. At this time, there were 50 or 60 people lined up in the Hall of Treasures, preparing to receive their salaries. At the front of the line was a middle-stage Zifu disciple wearing a white robe. He was standing in front of a counter. Behind the counter was a white-haired late-stage Zifu disciple. On the counter was an abacus and 15 mid-grade spirit stones. The white-robed cultivator had a fawning expression on his face. "Managerly, please give me more. My monthly salary should be 10 mid-grade spirit stones, but I went on a mission last month. The reward should be 20 mid-grade spirit stones. Plus 1, it should be 30 mid-grade spirit stones. You only have 15 mid-grade spirit stones. Last month's salary was cut in half for nothing." The old man had a displeased look on his face. "What do I have to do with this? I'll give you whatever the accounts say. I don't have the authority to decide on the accounts or the spirit stones. I'll give them whatever the higher-ups arrange. If you have any objections, go find the treasurer. Why are you talking to a manager like me?" The middle-stage Zifu disciple was furious. Who doesn't know what the treasurer is like? It's already a loss if you can't find any spirit stones. When I asked him for them, he wouldn't even give me half a low-grade spirit stone. Manager Li's expression changed. "What are you talking about? You're just an ordinary disciple with no official position. How dare you slander an elder with authority? If this is investigated, do you still want to live?" Slandering an elder naturally requires heavy punishment, but everything I said was true. How can this be considered slander? At this time, there were still quite a few disciples in the Hall of Treasures. They were all waiting in line to receive their salaries. The quarrel between the two was clearly heard by the others. At this time, a Peak Foundation establishment cultivator asked, "Our Hall of Treasures actually deducts salaries? How come I've never encountered such a thing?" A nearby disciple laughed. "You're a member of the Shadow Lord's clan and have the state of Yen as your backer. You're also the personal disciple of the second elder. You're different from us low-level disciples. The Hall of Treasures won't make trouble for you over a few spirit stones. Not only you, but all the descendants of the elders, as well as those Blood Wolf disciples, won't have their salaries deducted. Ordinary disciples like us are miserable. It's already not bad if we can even get half of our hard-earned salary. I've been taking only 1/3 of my salary for 3 months in a row. This Peak Foundation establishment cultivator was none other than Wang Tongguang, a disciple of the Wang family. Previously, he was unable to enter the Blood Wolf sect, so he took Zhang Yu as his master. He was not deliberately arranged by Wang Daoyuan. He just happened to be there. The other disciples in the hall were all discussing this matter. Many of them were glaring at Manager Li, which made him a little scared. Once this matter blew up and the higher-ups investigated, the finance elder wouldn't be in any trouble. However, he was only a small steward and did not have any backing in the upper echelons. It was very likely that he would be the scapegoat. He could only shout, "Everyone, please calm down. This is not something I can decide. The higher-ups have only allocated so many spirit stones. If you don't pay according to the records, I won't be able to produce any spirit stones for you." At this moment, an initial stage Violet Palace realm disciple shouted, calm down, calm down. When didn't he tell us to calm down? How long are we going to stay calm? Where did all the spirit stones that were supposed to be given to us go? You must give us an explanation today." These words ignited everyone's anger, and they were all agitated. "Yes, you must give us an explanation. Give me back my hard-earned money. If you don't give us an explanation, we'll go to the discussion hall and find the Shadow Master." At this moment, the initial stage Violet Palace realm disciple who had shouted had a sly smile on his face. Manager Li saw that the hall was in chaos and knew that he would not be able to suppress it with his own abilities. He took out a jade talisman and crushed it. Wang Tongguang had been chosen by Wang Daojian to come to the Blood Shadow headquarters. Apart from his decent talent, he was also quite smart. He looked at the situation in the hall and quickly understood that someone was fanning the flames. The situation was unclear, so it was best to leave as soon as possible. He did not want to get involved in the dispute and cause trouble for Taigong and the Shadow Master. He slipped out while the others were not paying attention. Someone in the hall started to shout, "We must let the elders know about this matter today. I don't believe that the finance elder can hide the truth from the public. Let him leave the account book behind and hand it over to the Shadow Master and the elders. I'd like to see which bastard wrote this account book." Following this, there was another round of cursing and agreement. At this moment, Zhang Dingming was still arguing about the Myriad Rivers Merchant Guild. Blood Shadow has always been a lone wolf. Although there are no written rules, this has been the case for tens of thousands of years. What is this about joining the Yen Kingdom's forces? In the future, will these branches listen to the Yen Kingdom or the headquarters? Before he finished speaking, a late-stage Violet Palace realm elder ran in. Zhang Dingming said angrily, "Can't you see that the Shadow Master is discussing matters with us elders? How can you be so rash? What a scandal!" The Violet Palace realm cultivator cupped his hands and said, "Reporting to the Shadow Master and the elders, the finance hall is in chaos. Some disciples are complaining that the salary is too low and are arguing with the manager. Right now, there are dozens of disciples causing a ruckus in the finance hall and are even trying to steal the account book." Zhang Dingming was furious. Who dares to be so impudent? Are they looking to die by attacking the finance hall? Immediately send the disciplinary hall disciples over and arrest all the troublemakers. The culprit will be executed and the others will be severely punished. At this moment, a mid-stage Golden Core elder said, "Grand Elder, please wait. As far as I know, the finance hall often embezzles the disciples' salaries. I'm not a blood wolf, and I've encountered such situations many times before reaching the core formation stage. If we act rashly, I'm afraid it will cause a lot of trouble." A few other elders also chimed in. Zhang Dingming was a little embarrassed, so he winked at the elders of the Zhang family. The elders of the Zhang family immediately said, "The finance hall is in Blood Shadow City. No matter how bold they are, they won't dare to go against us right under our noses. We elders should continue discussing the matter of the Myriad Rivers Merchant Association. This concerns the future of Blood Shadow. What's the big deal about dozens of disciples causing trouble?" At this moment, Chao Jing said, "You can't say that. The future of Blood Shadow still depends on these low-level disciples. Some of my clansmen have also encountered such situations. Dozens of disciples wouldn't cause trouble for no reason. It's better to investigate." As soon as he said this, the elders of the Zhang family all agreed. Most of them or their descendants who weren't talented had encountered such situations. Su Qinghe looked at the elders with a confused expression before saying in a strange tone, "First elder, this isn't a small matter. If dozens of disciples are causing trouble now, who knows how many more will happen in the future? It's better to investigate thoroughly and punish whoever is at fault. That way, the disciples will be able to accept it wholeheartedly." As soon as he said this, the elders of the Zhang family all objected. The entire meeting hall suddenly became as noisy as a wet market. With Su Qinghe fanning the flames, Zhang Dingming couldn't suppress them at all. Zhou Luan snorted coldly and released her mid-stage yuaning aura. The hall immediately fell silent. Wang Daoyuan had accompanied her in cultivating for more than 10 years at the headquarters of Blood Shadow City. She had obtained all kinds of spiritual items, and her cultivation had finally broken through not long ago. "Elders, you are all the pillars of Blood Shadow. How can you be so noisy? Since we can't tell right from wrong here, let's go to the finance hall and see what's going on." As soon as she said this, the elders of the Su family and most of the elders of the Zhang family all agreed. The Zhang family didn't have many people, so they didn't dare to say anything. Zhou Luan led the elders out of the meeting hall and headed for the finance hall. At this moment, the disciples of the punishment hall had already surrounded the finance hall and were about to enter. Su Qinghe shouted, "Punishment hall disciples, step back for now. The Shadow Master has brought the elders here to deal with this matter." Chapter 9:13. A middle-stage golden core cultivator walked out from the crowd of disciples surrounding the Hall of Punishment. He cupped his hands towards the crowd and said, "Greetings, Shadow Master. I received news that some disciples were causing trouble in the Hall of Treasures and trying to steal the account book. According to the Blood Shadow Sect's rules, these disciples should be captured and brought back to the Hall of Punishment for interrogation. The culprit should be executed and the others should be punished severely. I'm currently arresting them according to the sect's rules." Zhou Luan nodded and said, "You've done well. Leave this matter to me and the other elders. You may withdraw for now." The middle-stage golden core cultivator didn't dare to disobey Zhou Luan's orders. He waved his hand and the disciples of the Hall of Punishment stood by. Zhang Yu was the first to enter the Hall of Punishment. He shouted, "Shadow Master and the other elders are all outside. Stay here obediently. We'll leave this matter to Shadow Master. Where's the account book? Shadow Master will examine it in a moment." Manager Li took out the account book from his storage pouch and placed it on the counter. Zhang Yu glanced at him and said, "Take out all your spatial treasures and place them on the counter. We'll wait for Shadow Master to examine them." Manager Li didn't dare to go against the second elder and obediently took out 3 storage pouches and a Qiankuan ring. Zhou Luan and the other elders entered the Hall of Treasures. Everyone in the hall bowed and saluted, "Greetings, Shadow Master." Zhou Luan waved her hand and said, "No need to be so polite. I heard that the Hall of Treasures didn't distribute their salaries fairly and caused the disciples to fight over the account book. Where's the account book now? Let me take a look." Zhang Yu flipped through all of Manager Li's spatial treasures but didn't find any other account book. He then showed the account book to the other cultivators present and asked, "Is this the account book he used to distribute your salaries?" The white-robed cultivator who argued with Manager Li earlier took a look at the account book and said, "It's the account book from before. My monthly salary should be 10 mid-grade spirit stones. Last month, I went on a mission and should have been rewarded with 20 mid-grade spirit stones. I should have received 30 mid-grade spirit stones in total, but Manager Li only gave me 15. I argued with him, but he said it was decided by the higher-ups and he had no right to interfere. Most of us disciples have had our salaries deducted. Today, we can't take it anymore. That's why we want to snatch the account book and demand justice." Zhou Luan took the account book and looked at it. Disciples, don't worry. I will definitely give you justice. After he finished speaking, he pointed at the salaries of some disciples in the account book and asked, according to the rules of the sect, the salary of a Violet Palace disciple is 10 mid-grade spirit stones per month. Once he reached the peak of the Zifu disciple realm, it would double again. Why was there only half of the salary in the account? Some cultivators don't even get 30% of their salary. Who set this account book? Manager Li said, I'm just a small manager. How could I have the authority to make such a decision? The account book was given to me by the head steward of the treasury hall. At the same time, the spirit stones given to me were also given according to the account book. I can only pay according to the amount in the account book. I can't take out an extra one. The head stewards of the various halls were equivalent to the deputy hall masters. Normally, they would be in charge of the various chores in the halls, which were also handled by gold core elders. To be able to become the head supervisor of the various palaces, he could be considered an elder with real power. Zhou Luan asked, where is the head steward of the treasury hall? A late gold core cultivator stepped out and cupped his hands. Head steward of the treasury hall, Zhang Mengguang, greets the Shadow Master. The Zhang clan's Meng generation was after the Ding generation, and this Zhang Mengguang was Zhang Dingming's nephew. What's going on with this account book? Why did the salary that was supposed to be given to disciples become half, or even less than 30%? Zhang Mengguang's forehead was covered in sweat. Embezzling disciples' salaries and stuffing his own pockets was not a light crime. Although he was also a member of the Zhang clan, he was only a distant branch and wasn't thought highly of. He formed his gold core when he was over 300 years old and relied on his ability to manage money for more than 300 years to obtain this position of head steward. If he took on this crime, he was afraid his life would be in danger. If none of his descendants were outstanding, they would probably decline from then on. But if he didn't take on this crime, he would be killed by Zhang Dingming in the future. Just as he was feeling conflicted, Su Qinghe laughed and said, Head Steward Zhang, just tell the truth. What's there to be afraid of? If it was your own problem, as long as you can fill in the gaps, you'll only lose your life. The Shadow Master is benevolent and doesn't blame his family. If it wasn't your problem, then just tell me where the account book came from. If you tell the truth, the Shadow Master will protect you and your family. Hearing this, Zhang Mengguang's expression became difficult. Seeing that he was about to confess, Zhang Dingming also said, Mengguang, if you have something to say, just say it. With me here, no one will dare to frame you. Zhang Mengguang sighed. In response to the Shadow Master's words, this account book was indeed done by me. Since you've admitted it, it'll be easy to handle. Where is the punishment hall master? Arrest Zhang Mengguang. Now, send people to search Zhang Mengguang's properties and Immortal's cave and find the stolen money. A late-stage gold core cultivator who looked very similar to Su Qinghe walked out and bowed, saying, As you command. Su Qinghe also said, Qingchuan, you must investigate carefully. You mustn't overlook anything. Punishment Elder Su Qingchuan was Su Qinghe's younger brother, so his status wasn't low. In order to balance things out, the Zhang and Su clans usually took turns to be in charge of punishment and finance. In terms of personnel appointments, the first elder, second elder, and third elders split the power. If Su Qingchuan were to catch the Zhang clan's weak points, he would definitely be able to do so. Su Qingchuan waved his hand, and a few punishment hall disciples ran in and put shackles on Zhang Mengguang. These shackles weren't ordinary items, but rather special magic tools. The cultivation of the person wearing them would be suppressed, and they wouldn't be able to use much power. Su Qingchuan shouted again, Qinghui, search all of Zhang Mengguang's properties and Immortal's cave. Don't leave anything behind. Bring everything you find here. Don't make any mistakes. The mid-stage gold core cultivator who led people to surround the finance hall walked in and cupped his hands in acknowledgement. Zhou Luan added, Elder Han, you're famous for being impartial in Blood Shadow. You'll be in charge of supervising, so as to prevent anyone from using underhanded means. An elderly peak gold core cultivator stepped out and cupped his hands in greeting. As you command. Then he walked out of the punishment hall with Su Qinghui. Second elder, find someone to calculate how many spirit stones were deducted from this account book. Zhang Yu cupped his hands in acknowledgement and then found a few non-direct elders to check the account book together. Half a day later, Su Qinghui and Elder Han returned to the finance hall. Su Qinghe took out 3 yin and yang rings and gave them to Zhou Luan. Shadow Master, all the properties under Zhang Mengguang's name have been searched. All the property that can be brought here is here, including the deeds to Immortal's cave and residence. All the property should be around 160,000 mid-grade spirit stones. Elder Han also cupped his hands in greeting. I was there during the search and accounting. Manager Su's words are correct. Zhang Yu handed a few books to Zhou Luan. Shadow Master, the account book has been calculated. This account book records the expenditure of the finance hall for 10 years, and a total of more than 30 million mid-grade spirit stones were deducted. More than 30 million mid-grade spirit stones were equivalent to more than 3 billion low-grade spirit stones. Su Qingchuan snorted and asked, Zhang Mengguang, you said you did this account book. Where are the spirit stones that were deducted? In this headquarters, there is a 5th grade spirit vein. You don't need mid-grade spirit stones for cultivation. Where did you hide these spirit stones? Shadow Master is merciful. As long as you tell the truth, you can be spared from death and your family can be protected. Being a scapegoat for others is certain death. How many people have you deducted from their salaries? These people can't wait to kill your whole family. Think about it, after you die, what will happen to your family? As far as I know, there are no outstanding people among your descendants. Will there be people willing to pay a huge price to protect them? Zhang Mengguang clenched his fists, and his muscles twitched. The veins on his forehead bulged, and his robe was soaked in sweat. He was also a member of the Zhang family, so he naturally knew how heartless Zhang Dingming was. If he became a scapegoat, Zhang Dingming would definitely not protect his family. But if he confessed, he couldn't take down Zhang Dingming, and his life would be difficult in the future. Chapter 9:14. At this point, Zhang Dingming didn't dare to say anything. If he said anything now, he would be admitting that he did it and that Zhang Mengguang was helping him. The prestige that he had accumulated as the Grand Elder for many years would be completely destroyed. Without prestige, the Zhang family was no different from the Su family. The lower and middle disciples of Blood Shadow had lost a lot of cultivation resources and were all angry. This anger would be directed at the Zhang family. In the future, Zhou Luan would eliminate the Zhang family. Not only would the others not speak for the Zhang family, but they would also step on them. He didn't say anything, but Su Qinghe wasn't easy to deal with. Zhang Mengguang, the Shadow Lord, has always been merciful. Back then, the Su family offended the Shadow Lord, but the murderer paid with his life. The Su family is still fine. If you can tell us who's behind this, the Shadow Lord will be merciful and demote your family to the Shanbei branch. Everyone could understand the meaning behind his words. He was promising that as long as he told them who was behind this, his family would be sent to the Yan Kingdom. The Wang family controlled both the black and white sides of the Yan Kingdom. No matter how capable Zhang Dingming was, he wouldn't dare to touch the Yan Kingdom. As long as he could go to the Yan Kingdom, it wouldn't be a problem to protect his family. Zhang Mengguang was also good at managing money and could find a good position in the Wan Chuan Chamber of Commerce. Hearing Su Qinghe's words, Zhang Mengguang gritted his teeth. I didn't do these accounts. Zhang Dingyi, the finance elder, gave them to me. Before he finished speaking, Zhang Dingming shouted angrily, How dare you talk nonsense? I'll kill you. He waved his hand and shot out a blood-red light toward Zhang Mengguang's head. Suddenly, a water dragon appeared on Zhang Mengguang's body and swallowed the blood-red light. At this time, a loud voice came from all directions. Don't be angry, Grand Elder. Zhang Mengguang is still a member of the Zhang family. It's not good to fight with your family in front of everyone. This water dragon was Wang Daoyuan's method. Blood Shadow City wasn't that big to begin with. At this time, the finance hall's array formation hadn't been activated, so Wang Daoyuan's divine consciousness could reach it. Seeing that Zhang Dingming wanted to attack, he used his divine power field to protect Zhang Mengguang. Originally, he just wanted to kill Zhang Dingyi and destroy Zhang Dingming's prestige. He didn't expect that Zhang Mingguang would break off his relationship with the Zhang family as soon as he started. This was really an unexpected gain. Zhang Dingming's heart was filled with fear. Although his cultivation level was much lower than Wang Daoyuan's, his knowledge was not weak. Naturally, he could recognize the domain divine ability. This spell that was casually condensed was able to dissolve his full-powered attack. Within the range of this domain, Wang Daoyuan could kill him at any time. Zhou Luan said, "Zhang Mingguang, if you have anything else to say, you can continue." Zhang Mingguang pleaded, "I can tell you everything I know. I only hope that you can send my family to the Yan Kingdom. I've already lived for a long time, and my talent is average. I have no hope of forming my nascent soul, so it's no big deal if I die." Zhou Luan nodded. The Shanbei division has established 2 new second-class divisions, and they have yet to appoint a hall master or vice hall master. If you can atone for your crimes with good deeds, you will be demoted to the Shanbei division and become a hall master. Zhang Mingguang felt as if he had been granted amnesty and no longer hesitated. Although I'm also a member of the Zhang family, I've been separated from Zhang Dingyi and the rest for more than 10 generations. Most of the people who benefit from the Zhang family are from their bloodline. Before me, my bloodline hasn't produced a golden core cultivator for 6 or 7 generations. I've cultivated to this point all by myself. I didn't get any help from the Zhang family. But just because my surname is Zhang, I have to be controlled by Zhang Dingming. Otherwise, I'll be suppressed by the Zhang family. My life is worse than a non-direct elder's. I've been the chief steward of the finance hall for many years, but I don't have any real power. The spirit stones that go in and out of the finance hall don't go through my hands. Only the account books go through my hands. I've long known that they do this so that when something happens, they can use me as a scapegoat. Zhang Dingming snorted coldly. "You say that Zhang Dingyi embezzled your salary. Do you have any evidence?" Zhang Mingguang wasn't afraid of anything. He directly retorted, "As the chief steward of the finance hall, I only have the authority to pass through. If it wasn't Zhang Dingyi who embezzled your salary, who else could it be? Don't tell me it was you?" At this point, it was impossible for the Zhang family to completely get away with it. Someone had to block the disaster. Zhang Dingming also knew that the Wang family and the Su family were bent on destroying the Zhang family. Now, he could only delay this matter for now so that he had time to exchange benefits. Zhang Dingming put on a righteous appearance. Now, Zhang Dingyi is indeed the most suspicious. But it's only a suspicion and there's no evidence. As the great elder, if he really did this, I definitely won't be biased. Shadow Master, please take Zhang Dingyi into custody first and then thoroughly investigate this matter. It was a bit difficult to find evidence rashly. Wang Daoyuan's previous plan was to first create momentum and then gradually reveal Zhang Dingyi's dark secrets. There wasn't much meaning in killing a Zhang Dingyi. The most important thing was to use Zhang Dingyi to destroy Zhang Dingming's prestige and split the Zhang family faction. This was the first time he made a move and made Zhang Mingguang and Zhang Dingming fall out. It was already an unexpected gain. Zhou Luan nodded. There's indeed no ironclad evidence now. However, I'll definitely investigate this matter to the end. The losses of the lower and middle disciples will also be compensated after recovering the stolen money. Punishment Elder, lock up Zhang Dingyi first. There can't be any mishaps. Zhang Mingguang will temporarily manage the finance hall's affairs. After investigating the matter thoroughly, we'll deal with it. Punishment Hall will send people to protect Zhang Mingguang's family. The disciples who wanted to snatch the account book today also had their reasons. We won't punish them. Everyone, disperse. Su Qingchuan cupped his hands and said, "This subordinate obeys." Finished speaking, he ordered people to remove the torture tools from Zhang Mingguang's body and led a group of Punishment Hall disciples to capture Zhang Dingyi. The other disciples were already prepared to be punished. They didn't expect to be able to escape unscathed and also dispersed. Previously, these elders were still arguing about the Myriad Rivers Chamber of Commerce. Now that something major happened, no one had the mood to do so. Zhou Luan also directly returned to the Zhou family's small courtyard. She opened the small courtyard's array formation and laughed wildly. Zhang Dingming finally suffered a loss this time. He was actually angered to the point of directly attacking Zhang Mengguang. His all-out attack was easily resolved by Yu. It can be considered to have suppressed him. Wang Daoyuan was currently sitting at the stone table drinking tea. Putting down the teacup, he said with a smile, "Today's harvest is too great, far exceeding my expectations. Originally, I just wanted to create momentum and provoke the anger of the lower and middle disciples towards Zhang Dingyi. But I didn't expect that this guy usually committed too many evil deeds, directly causing the people's resentment to boil. Now that Zhang Dingyi has been taken down, the Zhang family can't control the finance hall anymore. Punishment Hall is the Su family's head. It listens to us in the first place. The two most important halls are both under your command. Zhang Dingming's power is greatly weakened. Furthermore, Zhang Mengguang defected to us. It can also be considered a split in the Zhang family faction. As long as we properly deal with Zhang Mengguang's family, more people from the Zhang family faction will come to join us in the future." Zhou Luan asked, "Then what should we do next?" Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "We don't have to do anything. The more we do, the more mistakes we will make. The ones who should be anxious now are the Zhang family." Su Qingxuan was an expert in fanning the flames. He knew what to do next. The current situation is extremely unfavorable for the Zhang family. The Su family can completely destroy Zhang Dingyi with the Zhang family's black material in their hands. Lord Shadow Master, you just have to sit still and watch the situation change. At this time, in a blacksmithing workshop outside Blood Shadow City, a few blacksmiths were forging tool embryos. A tall cultivator among them said, "Have you heard? Those bastards from the finance hall have finally been dealt with." A cultivator wielding a sledgehammer next to him said, "How can we not hear?" Even the Shadow Master came out personally. He also promised to investigate the matter thoroughly and recover the stolen money. After that, he will pay back the salary that was previously deducted. That bastard Zhang Dingyi is really a bastard. I haven't received a regular salary for more than 10 years. Last month, I only received 40% of my salary. Hopefully, we can kill Zhang Dingyi this time and bring justice to the lower and middle disciples. Chapter 9:15. Under the Su family's manipulation, the news that Zhang Dingyi had embezzled more than 30 million mid-grade spirit stones in the past 10 years quickly spread throughout the Blood Shadow headquarters. He had been the finance elder for more than 200 years. In these 200 years, he had probably embezzled a few 100 million mid-grade spirit stones. These spirit stones should have been distributed to the lower and middle-class disciples, but now they were all in Zhang Dingyi's pocket. The Su family had also grasped the situation very well. Punishment Hall released a big piece of news every day. For example, they had found a certain account book and embezzled tens of millions of spirit stones. Or they had found a certain accountant and confessed that Zhang Dingyi had forced them to do the accounts. Half a month later, the entire Blood Shadow headquarters was in an uproar. Even the various branches had begun to send letters, demanding that Zhang Dingyi be severely punished. After all, the various branches' contribution points and resources had to be exchanged through the finance hall. With Zhang Dingyi's character of passing an egg lightly, if he dared to embezzle the salaries of the headquarters disciples, there was no need to talk about the branch halls. Now, they had found a few accountants as witnesses and dug out quite a few account books. After investigating Zhang Dingyi's assets, the amount was shocking. According to the news released by Punishment Hall, Zhang Dingyi's assets were worth more than 200 million mid-grade spirit stones. Although they hadn't found the accounts of Zhang Dingyi's personal assets, the evidence and witnesses pointed to him. In the meeting hall, Zhou Luan sat high up on the main seat and asked, "Punishment Elder, how is the investigation of Zhang Dingyi's matter?" Su Qingxuan took out a dozen or so bee-skin books. Reporting to Shadow Lord, these are the results of the investigation and the testimonies of the various accountants in the finance hall. All of the accountants said that Zhang Dingyi was the one who ordered them to do this. Moreover, most of the assets under Zhang Dingyi's name were acquired within the past 200 years. Zhou Luan roughly looked through the beastskin books and asked, "Elders, what do you think?" An elder of the Su family said, "The evidence is conclusive, and we can already convict him. There aren't many people in the Blood Shadow headquarters who can bypass the finance hall's chief steward and embezzle disciples' salaries. Only Zhang Dingyi, the first, second, and third elders can do it. The earliest account book was from 200 years ago. At that time, the second elder was still the head of the Su family. In recent decades, it was Elder Zhang. The third elder had been changed twice in the middle, and during this process, the deduction of his salary did not stop. Only Zhang Dingyi and the first elder can bypass Zhang Mengguang." Hearing this, Zhang Dingming's face turned red with anger. The mastermind behind this is either Zhang Dingyi or you, Zhang Dingming. You can choose who is the unlucky one. Zhou Luan added, "Don't spout nonsense. The great elder has been in charge of Blood Shadow for hundreds of years. Why would he do such a thing?" The Su family elder immediately said, "This subordinate misspoke. Please don't take offense, great elder." At this moment, Elder Han, who had always been known for his impartiality, also opened his mouth and said, "As the finance elder, Zhang Dingyi's salary was docked by several 100 million spirit stones. Regardless of whether he did it or not, he would be sentenced to death. In addition, all the witnesses and evidence point to him. We can already convict him." Zhang Dingyi had coveted such a large amount of spirit stones, it was impossible for him to be the only one benefiting. The other elders of the Zhang family faction could more or less get a share. If Zhang Dingyi was convicted, it would be troublesome if a few more people came forward. An elder of the Zhang family faction said, "Shadow Master, although there is a lot of evidence now, there is no solid evidence to prove the specific source of Zhang Dingyi's wealth. As everyone knows, Zhang Dingyi has been extremely favored in the Zhang family since he was young. When the previous patriarch of the Zhang family was still alive, he could say that he could have anything he wanted. It is normal for him to have some wealth in his hands. With the wealth of the Zhang family for tens of thousands of years, it is not difficult for them to take out several 100 million spirit stones, right?" These words were a bit shameless. Who knew where Zhang Dingyi's account book went? If the Zhang family wanted to hide the account book, it was a simple matter. Elder Han was about to refute when Su Qinghe hurriedly said, "This elder's words are reasonable. We can't rush to convict him. Perhaps Zhang Dingyi was also instructed by someone and is now being thrown out as a scapegoat. For such a big case, it is better to have solid evidence." Su Qinghe's words were hinting at the first elder. How could brothers who were extremely close not have some financial dealings with each other? As long as they could find a little bit of evidence, they could drag the first elder down as well. The best choice for the Zhang family now was to draw a clear line with Zhang Dingyi. Give up on Zhang Dingyi and protect the Zhang family. Since the Zhang family was not clear, they would draw the fire onto the Zhang family. Hearing Su Qinghe's words, Zhang Dingming also reacted and knew that this matter was directed at him. However, he could not say anything now. If he pleaded for his brother, he would not be able to distinguish between public and private matters. If he asked for his brother to be severely punished, he would be throwing away the rook to save the king. At this time, avoiding suspicion and staying silent was the best choice. Zhou Luan nodded. "In that case, continue the investigation." Punishment Elder Su Qingchuan cupped his hands and said, "This subordinate obeys." Soon, there was the sound of wind outside again. The Shadow Master and the other elders wanted to convict Zhang Dingyi, but the Zhang family protected Zhang Dingyi. Once the news spread, the fire burned onto the Zhang family. As the head of the Zhang family, Zhang Dingming naturally could not stay out of it. North of Blood Shadow City, in a large forest, more than 20 Foundation establishment cultivators were chopping third-grade spiritual trees. These spiritual trees were extremely hard. Even with magic tools that specialized in chopping spiritual trees, these cultivators could not hold on for too long. After chopping for an hour, they had to rest for a while. During rest, it was inevitable that they would chat. A skinny cultivator was gasping for breath. A sturdy cultivator next to him laughed and said, "Brother Zheng, Your body is not good. It's only been an hour, and you're already panting like this. You and sister-in-law should control yourselves. Don't ruin your bodies." As soon as this was said, the other cultivators who were resting also laughed. The thin cultivator's face was red. "Don't talk nonsense. Who has the mood to do that now? I don't have any skills, and I'm not good at fighting. After working hard for a month, I only get a salary of 200 low-grade spirit stones. More than half of it is deducted, so I only get 70 to 80 spirit stones. My wife is pregnant and needs spiritual items to nourish her body. Only then will she have a higher chance of giving birth to a child with spiritual roots. My eldest son is already 10 years old and tested to have 3 spiritual roots. His main spiritual root is more than 7 inches long, much stronger than mine. In the future, he has hope to enter the Blood Wolf sect and get a steward position. He can even be sent to a branch and become a hall master. With this talent, he naturally needs to nourish his body with spiritual items from a young age. All my salary is used to buy spiritual items for my wife and son. I can't even bear to eat spiritual grains." The sturdy man advised, "Brother Zheng, you can't be like this. Doing this kind of work consumes a lot of qi and blood. If we don't have spiritual items to replenish our qi, our bodies will quickly collapse." The thin cultivator sighed. "I also want to eat something good, but do I have so many spirit stones? I don't have any hope in this life. As long as my children and grandchildren can live good lives, I don't mind working a little hard. Zhang Dingyi, that damned bastard, deducted more than half of our salary. If I can get 200 spirit stones, I can also eat some spiritual items." The sturdy cultivator also sighed. "This matter is already an ironclad case. If we deal with Zhang Dingyi, we'll have more money on hand." But I didn't expect that the Zhang family would insist on protecting Zhang Dingyi, saying that there is no evidence. The Zhang family is powerful, and Zhang Dingming is the first elder. Shadow Master doesn't dare to disrespect him. He can only continue to look for evidence, so this matter is delayed. I originally thought that the first elder was quite fair, but now it seems that he's not a good person. Zhang Dingyi is the first elder's younger brother. He embezzled hundreds of millions of mid-grade spirit stones. How can the Zhang family, including the first elder, not benefit? The Zhang family has already benefited, and now Zhang Dingyi is already in a situation where he will undoubtedly die. If they dare not save him, Zhang Dingyi will expose them, and the entire Zhang family won't be able to escape. The Zhang family has a foundation of tens of thousands of years, but I don't know if Lord Shadow Master can touch them. Chapter 9:16. The few of them sighed, but there was nothing they could do. If they went to the conference hall to make a request, they might be killed before they could even speak. It wasn't common for the people from the treasury hall to be able to escape unscathed after stealing the account books. They all had wives and children at home, and no one wanted to throw their lives away. Such scenes played out all over the Blood Shadow headquarters. Everyone was looking forward to killing Zhang Dingyi as soon as possible. Moreover, most people felt that Zhang Dingyi wasn't the only one who had embezzled their salaries. The Zhang clan and Zhang Dingming were also involved. Such an evil person was actually able to hold the position of finance elder for 200 years. Even if the Grand Elder didn't participate in the distribution of spirit stones, how could he not know that his younger brother had done such a thing? Thus, the Grand Elder was either in cahoots with him or covering for him. No matter what, he wasn't qualified to be the Grand Elder. The Su clan didn't mind the commotion and weren't anxious at all. Su Qingchuan and Su Qinghui, on the other hand, were patient enough to look for evidence. They wanted to dig up all of Zhang Dingyi's assets and study every single stone carefully. The Treasury Hall also temporarily stopped receiving their salaries with the excuse that the treasury was empty. The middle and lower-ranked disciples could still wait and watch the commotion. Now that they weren't receiving their salaries, how were they going to feed their families? After more than a month of torment at the punishment hall, the middle and lower-ranked disciples couldn't hold on any longer. Many Violet Palace Realm and Foundation Establishment Realm disciples stopped working and gathered outside the Treasury Hall. As more and more people gathered, it would cause a huge commotion if they weren't careful. The punishment hall was controlled by the Su clan. They just waited to watch the commotion and didn't care about these matters. After a long time, someone who wasn't afraid of death finally stood out from the crowd. This person was thin and small, and his face was pale. He was severely lacking in qi and blood. He was the cultivator surnamed Zheng, who was cutting down spirit trees in a forest north of Blood Shadow City. He walked to the entrance of the treasury hall and shouted, "When will you receive your salaries? My family has already run out of food. I can handle it myself, but my child has just started on the path of cultivation, and my wife is pregnant. They can't handle it. If I don't receive my salary today, my wife and child will starve to death. There's no point in me living. If worse comes to worst, I'll fight with my life on the line. Even if I can't snatch the item, I'll still splash my blood all over you." A manager walked out of the Hall of Treasures. "What's the use of you shouting at the entrance of the Hall of Treasures?" Zhang Dingyi had embezzled several 100 million mid-grade spirit stones, and the treasury of the treasury hall was also in deficit. "If I don't take him down, how can I give you spirit stones? As a steward, I'm the same as you. I haven't eaten any phase for a month. My wife and children can only rely on the weeds in the courtyard to survive." Someone in the crowd shouted, "Brothers, since the treasury hall can't give out the spirit stones, let's go to the conference hall to see the Shadow Master. I beg her to kill Zhang Dingyi and make the Zhang clan spit out the spirit stones that they embezzled from us." The thousands of people present were already filled with resentment. They wanted nothing more than to tear the Zhang family apart. As soon as someone instigated them, the anger that had been suppressed in their hearts for many years erupted, and they all roared as they rushed toward the conference hall. The thin and small cultivator surnamed Zheng was at the very front, but he was stopped by the guards in front of the main hall. He shouted inside, "Shadow Master, we already have no way to survive. I beg the Shadow Master to be merciful and let us have a bite to eat to feed our families." Soon, thousands of people gathered outside the conference hall. Among them, there were dozens of people shouting toward the conference hall. The conference hall was protected by a formation. No matter how noisy it was outside, no sound could be transmitted inside. However, there were guards who could send messages. These guards were also arranged by Su Qinghe. Now that the matter had escalated, it was time to close the net. One of the guards walked into the conference hall and cupped his hands toward Zhou Luan, reporting to the Shadow Master, "Thousands of people have gathered outside the conference hall. Some people's families can't even open the pot. If there's no food, their families will starve to death. They want to kill Zhang Dingyi and make the Zhang clan return their hard-earned money." Some people even said, "What did they say?" They said that they want to risk it all before they die. Even if they can't kill the Zhang clan, they want to splash the Zhang clan with their blood. Zhang Dingming's face darkened, but he didn't dare to say anything. Zhou Luan sighed. If they still had a mouthful of food, they wouldn't have come to this. "Let's go and meet these low-level cultivators." After saying that, the group walked out of the conference hall. When the cultivators outside the conference hall saw Zhou Luan come out, they all knelt down and begged, "Shadow Master, please give us a way out. There are no more spirit stones in the conference hall of finance. If we can't withdraw the spirit stones, our families will starve to death." Someone shouted, "Zhang Dingyi embezzled our hard-earned money. This kind of person deserves to die 10,000 times. He should be killed immediately." There were also some more extreme people who shouted that they wanted to exterminate Zhang Dingyi's entire family. Zhou Luan said loudly, "Disciples, please calm down first. I'm also from the lower middle level of the Blood Shadow sect. I also know about your suffering. However, the case hasn't been solved yet. We can't rashly kill people. If there's really no food, I still have some private wealth here. I'll give it to you first. We'll talk about it after we get through the current crisis." Someone in the crowd immediately shouted, "Shadow Master, we know that you're good to us. Otherwise, you wouldn't have investigated that bastard Zhang Dingyi. The Zhang clan must have used their power to bully Shadow Master. This person should have been sent by the Su clan. His words successfully drew everyone's anger to the Zhang clan. At this moment, another person shouted, "I've been wronged. Shadow Master, please redress my grievances." This person was a middle-aged man whose cultivation had reached the middle stage of the Zifu realm. "What grievances do you have? Don't hesitate to speak." The middle-aged man said, "I'm called Zheng Chou. My father, Zheng Rong, was the vice hall master of the Shan Nation's Jinshan branch. That year, when that bastard Zhang Dingyi was the hall master of the Jinshan branch, he saw that my older sister was beautiful and forcefully took her back. My father went to save my older sister and had a conflict with him. He didn't have the confidence to defeat my father, so he let my older sister go. However, that bastard harbored hatred in his heart and led others to slaughter my entire family of more than 30 people. If it wasn't for someone saving me, I probably wouldn't have lived to this day. Fortunately, the heavens had eyes and exposed that bastard's evil deeds. I only dared to report him because Lord Shadow Master personally asked about it. I still have the image recording pearl left behind by the person who saved me. This was the orphan that Su Qinghe had mentioned before. He also had proof that Zhang Dingyi had slaughtered his entire family. The deputy hall master of a first-grade branch of the Blood Shadow branch had the same status as an elder without any duties. Even the Grand Elder couldn't kill someone without reason, let alone a mere hall master. Furthermore, Zhang Dingyi had slaughtered his entire family. The deputy hall master of a first-grade branch required the unanimous agreement of the Grand Elder, Second Elder, and Third Elder. A deputy hall master was gone just like that, and there wasn't even the slightest bit of news about it. Clearly, someone from the headquarters had suppressed this matter. Suppressing such a matter was a capital offense. Once the matter was investigated, a large number of elders would be implicated. This move could be said to be a trump card. As long as it was verified, the Zhang clan would suffer greatly. As soon as this was said, more than 10 people cried out for their grievances. Some accused Zhang Dingyi of murder and robbery, while others accused him of stealing someone's wife and daughter. Punishment Elder, go investigate this matter. Elder Han, Elder Chao, and Elder Wu, the 3 of you go supervise the trial. The 4 of them cupped their hands in acknowledgement, then brought these people to the punishment hall to investigate. Afterward, he called the head steward of the finance hall, Zhang Mengguang, over. I remember that there are some treasure-guarding spirit stones in the sect's treasury. They're used for emergencies. Right now, Blood Shadow isn't in any danger. Take out a portion of the treasure-guarding spirit stones for these disciples. Zhang Mengguang hurriedly said, Shadow Master, you mustn't do that. These treasure-guarding spirit stones are related to Blood Shadow's foundation. If there's an accident and there's no spirit stones to use, the sect's foundation might be lost. The treasure-guarding spirit stones are related to Blood Shadow's foundation, but the disciples aren't? These disciples have contributed so much to the sect, but now they've reached the point where they don't even have enough to eat. If these disciples are bitterly disappointed, who would be willing to work for Blood Shadow in the future? As long as the hearts of the people are still there, what are spirit stones? Chapter 9:17. Any large faction would prepare some treasure-guarding spirit stones, and the Yen Kingdom naturally had them as well. These treasure-guarding spirit stones were mainly high-grade spirit stones, with a small amount of mid-grade spirit stones. To put it bluntly, treasure-guarding spirit stones were wartime reserves. Once attacked by external enemies, the sect would be surrounded and isolated from the outside world. These treasure-guarding spirit stones could only be used to maintain the mountain-protecting formation, quickly recover spirit power, and drive flying warships and puppets. Its importance was self-evident. Unless a faction was at the end of its rope, it wouldn't easily use treasure-guarding spirit stones. Zhou Luan took out the treasure-guarding spirit stones. Zhou Ji was a low-level disciple who didn't have enough to eat. If this matter spread, her prestige in the Blood Shadow sect would definitely rise greatly. These low-level disciples were naturally grateful and kowtowed to express their gratitude. The cultivator surnamed Zheng was even more grateful. Thank you, Shadow Lord, for saving my family's life. She gave a token to Zhang Mengguang. This is the token you need to use the treasure-guarding spirit stones in the 5th secret storehouse. Zhang Mengguang said, Shadow Lord has decided to use the treasure-guarding spirit stones to pay your salaries. Wait in front of the treasury hall. I'll go get the spirit stones now. With that, he left and went to the Blood Shadow Sect's storehouse to get the spirit stones. The cultivators in front of the conference hall also left and went to the treasury hall to wait. Zhou Luan and the elders returned to the conference hall to wait for the results of the trial in the punishment hall. Half a day later, Su Qingchuan and the other elders brought the cultivators who were crying for justice to the conference hall. Su Qingchuan took out a few beast-skin books and a transparent bead and handed them to Zhou Luan through Zhang Yu. Shadow Lord, the matter of Zheng Qiu reporting Zhang Dingyi's extermination has been investigated. With the image recording bead as evidence, Zhang Dingyi did indeed exterminate Zheng Qiu's entire family. The other cultivators didn't have enough evidence, and Zhang Dingyi refused to admit his guilt. Elder Han said, Elder Chao, Elder Wu, and I have been listening in on Zheng Qiu's trial. In the image recording bead, Zhang Dingyi revealed his true appearance. With the image recording bead, he didn't argue and admitted to exterminating Zheng Qiu's entire family. Elder Wu added, in the image recording pearl, Zhang Dingyi was at a disadvantage when he fought with Tseng Rong. In the end, he used the Zhang family's unique technique, the serious soul extinguishing technique. This spell was the Zhang family's patriarch's unique skill. Outsiders had no way of obtaining it. As far as I know, this serious soul extinction technique is extremely difficult to cultivate. Even the Great Elder had only scratched the surface. In the Zhang clan, only Zhang Dingyi can use this spell to kill enemies above his level. Elder Wu's name was Wu Jun, and he was the younger brother of Blood Shadow Supervisor Wu Xiang. His talent was not as good as Wu Xiang's, but it was not too bad. Furthermore, he was upright and had a good reputation. However, due to his lack of experience, he was only an elder without any duties for the time being. Zhou Luan flipped through a few beast-skin books and injected spiritual energy into the image recording pearl. The transparent bead emitted streams of light, forming a screen of light. On the screen, a young man and a middle-aged man were fighting. The middle-aged man was stronger and had been suppressing the young man. Seeing that the young man was about to be defeated, a black aura emanated from his body. This black aura condensed into black wolves that surrounded the middle-aged man. The black fog dispersed, and the middle-aged man died an unnatural death. After Zhou Luan saw this, she asked coldly, Great Elder, is the young man in this image recording pearl Zhang Dingyi? Is the spell he used your Zhang clan's serious soul extinction technique? Zhang Dingming sighed. It is indeed the serious soul extinction technique. It is indeed Zhang Dingyi. It is one thing for this evil creature to be greedy and lustful, but he actually dared to commit such a heinous crime. Su Qingchuan sneered. Zhang Dingyi has already been brought to the meeting hall. If you want to scold him, I will bring him in now. Zhang Dingming's expression changed greatly. Zhang Dingyi was already dead for sure. No one could save him. Now that they met, he was likely to accuse him. Before he could speak, Zhou Luan said, Bring Zhang Dingyi in. Su Qingchuan looked at Zhang Dingming provocatively, then turned and walked out of the hall. Afterwards, he carried a middle-aged man back to the hall. This man was shackled and shackled. These torture tools were all made of 4th-level upper-grade metal materials. Even with Zhang Dingyi's peak Jindan realm cultivation, he was suppressed to the point that he couldn't use any strength. Now his hair was disheveled, and his clothes were dirty and messy. He didn't look like a cultivator at all. But at this time, his eyes still revealed a look of contempt for all living beings. Before Zhou Luan could ask, Zhang Dingming scolded, You evil creature, it is one thing for you to be greedy and lustful, but you even did something like exterminating the deputy hall master's family. Without waiting for him to finish, Zhang Dingyi retorted sarcastically, Which cultivator hasn't killed many people before? Zhang Dingming, is your ass so clean? I am better than you in everything. You are older than me, so all the benefits are yours. It is the same for breaking the elixir and forming the nascent soul. I am more talented than you and younger than you. Why should I leave my inherited magic weapon to you? Now you still have the face to pretend to be a good person in front of me. I docked your salary and misappropriated the spirit stones in the treasury of the finance hall. You also took a lot. Exterminating Zheng Rong's family, wasn't it also? Before he finished speaking, Zhang Dingming shouted, "Evil creature, you are courting death. Today, I will clean up the Zhang family." As he spoke, he slapped Zhang Dingyi's head. He was an early Yuanying realm cultivator. Killing a peak Jindan realm cultivator was a piece of cake. Zhang Dingyi bled from his 7 orifices and died. Zhou Luan didn't expect him to be so decisive. She didn't even have time to stop him. "Grand Elder, what is the meaning of this? Could it be that you want to silence him?" Zhang Dingming hurriedly bowed. "Before my late father passed away, he entrusted this evil creature to me. I have been busy with official business all these years and have been controlling him. I didn't expect him to commit such a heinous crime. When I heard this evil creature admit to his crime, I only felt righteous indignation. I didn't stop. Please punish me, Shadow Master." Zhou Luan snorted coldly. "We can talk about your punishment later. Right now, we have to deal with the mess Zhang Dingyi left behind." "Punishment, Elder, how much did Zhang Dingyi embezzle from his salary and embezzle spirit stones from the treasury?" Su Qingchuan replied, "According to the evidence we have, Zhang Dingyi embezzled from his salary and embezzled spirit stones and other resources from the treasury. The total is more than 780 million mid-grade spirit stones. The total wealth under Zhang Dingyi's name is only about 400 million mid-grade spirit stones. We haven't been able to find the remaining spirit stones." Zhou Luan glanced at Zhang Dingming. She was giving him a hint. It would be up to the Zhang clan to decide whether to pursue this matter to the end and exterminate them or to stop while they were ahead and leave them some face. Zhang Dingming had been the Grand Elder for several hundred years. He was no fool. "Lord Shadow Master, the Treasury Hall's deficit is Zhang Dingyi's fault. He is my younger brother. I can't just stand by and do nothing. The Zhang family is willing to pay 400 million mid-grade spirit stones to make up for this deficit. In addition, the Zhang family is also willing to compensate the people who have been harmed by this bastard." Su Qing has said sarcastically from the side, "Grand Elder is so bold. You can be so decisive even after losing an arm. You took out 400 million mid-grade spirit stones just like that? My Su family's foundation is still too shallow. I really can't take out so many spirit stones." Zhang Dingming was so angry that his teeth itched, but he didn't dare to say anything. According to Wang Daoyuan's plan, they would first attack Zhang Dingming's prestige and divide the Zhang family. If they were forced into a corner now, the Zhang family would be driven to desperation. Blood Shadow would probably fall into chaos. Zhang Dingyi's matter was already more than enough to complete the mission. The Zhang family's foundation was damaged, and Zhang Dingming even had the reputation of being a murderer. His prestige was completely gone. Without his prestige, the Zhang family's status would plummet. Many people would find a way out, and the Zhang family would slowly collapse. Therefore, it was better to let the Zhang family go first. Zhou Luan nodded. "Then I'll give Grand Elder face and won't pursue Zhang Dingyi's matter any further. The Zhang family will compensate the Treasury Hall and the victims' losses." Chapter 9:18. Killing an elder in public in the meeting hall was something that Blood Shadow had never encountered in tens of thousands of years. After all, although the Zhang clan and Su clan had fought openly and covertly in the past, their strength was about the same. No one had the confidence to take down the other. They had only fought on a small scale, so it was the first time that the other's second-in-command had been dragged down. Su Qinghe asked, "Shadow Master, how should we deal with this sinner's corpse? How did you deal with such situations in the past?" Su Qinghe answered, "In the past, there were elders who committed all kinds of evil, and they were all executed in public outside the south gate of Blood Shadow City. Those who committed the most heinous crimes and stirred up the crowd's emotions would have their corpses displayed outside the city." Zhou Luan nodded. "Let's do it according to the rules and leave it to the punishment hall. The most important thing now is to make up for the lost assets and compensate for the losses of the disciples. All the elders agreed. Zhou Luan left the meeting hall and walked towards the Zhou clan's small courtyard. After entering the courtyard, she activated the formation and laughed. Zhang Dingming, that old fellow, has finally suffered a loss. Zhang Dingyi said that he gave a lot of the spirit stones he stole to the Zhang clan, and Zhang Dingming took a lot. He was about to say that it was Zhang Dingming who helped to suppress the news of Zheng Qiu's entire clan. I didn't expect this old fellow to be so decisive and kill Zhang Dingyi in the meeting hall with one palm. He even promised to return the spirit stones to the treasury in exchange for us not to kill them all. According to the sect rules, Zhang Dingyi's corpse should be displayed outside the city. Wang Daoyuan smiled. I didn't expect that the first step would have such a good effect. The Zhang clan losing control of the finance hall is like losing an arm. Zhang Mingguang's betrayal can be considered a split in the Zhang clan. Now that he killed Zhang Dingyi with his own hands, he doesn't have any prestige left. The Su clan will definitely direct the anger of the Blood Shadow disciples to the Zhang clan and Zhang Dingming when Zhang Dingyi's corpse is displayed. Now, the Zhang clan is half crippled. Zhang Dingming won't dare to be arrogant in front of you anymore. What should we do next? We can't just let Zhang Dingming go like this, right? Wang Daoyuan thought for a while and asked, Does Blood Shadow have a Grand Elder? Yes, but there haven't been any Yuanian cultivators in the past 10,000 years, so there are very few Grand Supreme Elders. Their authority is about the same as the Grand Elders of other forces. They don't care about daily affairs, but they can still make decisions on important matters. Then does the Grand Elder have more power than the Shadow Lord? Of course not. The Shadow Master's authority is supreme. If I wasn't worried about the negative impact, I could make any decision on my own. The Grand Elder's position was only the highest when there was no Shadow Lord. Moreover, when making a decision, he can't bypass the First Elder. He's far worse than the Shadow Lord. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, Then let him be the Grand Elder. Zhou Luan subconsciously objected, How can that be? Isn't this helping him raise his status? Wang Daoyuan lightly knocked on Imperial Court's head. You've been smart all your life, but now you're stupid. The Grand Elder only has the authority to make decisions on important matters. You, the Shadow Lord, can't use him. The Grand Elder also doesn't have the authority to manage personnel. This is making him a mere figurehead. Before he finished speaking, he felt his legs being hugged. He looked down and saw the two little guys, Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian. Wang Mingxian said, You're not allowed to bully Mother. Wang Mingren was still holding his peachwood sword. If you bully Mother again, I'll help Mother beat you. Zhou Luan was full of smiles. You have a conscience and know how to help your mother. You too continue to cultivate. We're not fighting. We're just joking. Only then did the two little guys let go of Wang Daoyuan's legs and go back to their own business. Zhou Luan continued, Then we'll do as you said. Let Zhang Dingming be the Grand Supreme Elder. In the future, he won't have the authority to manage the affairs of the Blood Shadow and can only be a decoration. If we do this, the Grand Elder will be vacant and the Treasury Hall will also be short of manpower. Who will take over? Arranging personnel was also a skill that involved the balance of the various factions. However, the Su family's attention was mainly on the Yan Kingdom, so there was no need to give the Su family any high positions. After all, the Su family now controlled the punishment hall. If they were given a high position, it would be difficult to get rid of them. The Grand Elder will naturally be Zhang Yu. Su Qinghe will be the second elder. It's better to let Chao Jing fill in for the third elder. Chao Jing used to be in charge of the mines. His original position will be taken over by a member of the Su family. As for the Treasury Hall, let Zhang Mingguang be the elder of the Treasury. He doesn't have the support of the Zhang family now, but his surname is Zhang, so others will alienate him. If he wants to survive, he can only rely on you, the Shadow Lord. This kind of lonely official is the best confidant. Wu Jun will be the Grand Chief. This is also a sign of goodwill to the Wu family. I hope Wu Xiang, the Blood Wolf's chief, can express his goodwill. Zhou Luan nodded her head in satisfaction. If that's the case, the three elders who have decision-making power are all our people. The Punishment Hall and the Treasury Hall, the two most important institutions, also listen to me. The Zhang family is just a figurehead? Wang Daoyuan shook his head. It's not that easy. The upper level is a figurehead, but the Zhang family has a foundation of tens of thousands of years. There are many members of the Zhang family in each branch. Even at the Blood Shadow headquarters, the ones in charge of the forest and pills are still members of the Zhang family. This time, the Zhang family has suffered heavy losses. Don't be in a hurry to continue. Otherwise, if we push Zhang Dingming too far, there will be a big problem. If we exert a little pressure on the Zhang family, the non-direct descendants of the Zhang family will have other ideas. Zhang family members like Zhang Mingguang, who are bullied by the Zhang family's direct descendants, will probably have other ideas. When the Zhang family's internal conflicts erupt, we'll pull them in and beat them up. A Zhang Dingming with no real power can no longer control the Zhang family. In terms of treachery and cunning, I'm far inferior to you. We'll do as you say. I want to see what kind of expression Zhang Dingming will have when the time comes. Half a month later, the compensation from the Zhang family arrived, and the investigation of the punishment hall was more or less finished. Zhou Luan came to the conference hall and summoned all the elders in the headquarters who were free for a meeting. The upper level of Blood Shadow had undergone a huge change. Now, most of the troublesome matters had been dealt with. The next step was to adjust personnel. In other words, the Zhang family would cut the meat, while the Su family and the non-direct descendants would eat the meat. At a time like this, naturally, everyone was eager to participate. All the Golden Core elders in Blood Shadow, regardless of their seniority or power, came to the conference hall. Zhou Luan didn't beat around the bush. Zhang Dingyi embezzled his salary, misappropriated the spirit stones in the treasury, and even wiped out the entire family of the Gold Mountain Branch's deputy hall master. This matter involves a lot of people, but I don't plan to pursue it. Zhang Dingming was the Grand Elder and Zhang Dingyi's eldest brother, but he failed to stop it in time. This is a big mistake, both publicly and privately. Although Zhang Dingyi was guilty, Zhang Dingming killed him in the conference hall before the investigation was completed. As for how to deal with this matter, please discuss it together. Su Qinghe immediately said, before Lord Shadow Master returned to the headquarters, the Grand Elder had been in charge of Blood Shadow's affairs for several hundred years. He was responsible for the things that Zhang Dingyi did. Although Zhang Dingyi was a criminal, the Grand Elder killed him before all of his crimes were investigated. This is also a big mistake and should be punished severely. Elder Han was more upright. According to Blood Shadow's rules, the Grand Elder was unjust and incompetent in his supervision. He should be removed from his position. He should only retain the status of an elder with no duties and no longer be in charge of any affairs. As for killing Zhang Dingyi, it can be a big or small matter. If he killed someone to silence them, then he should be killed. If he killed someone for Blood Shadow, his methods were too extreme and he should be demoted. As for how to deal with this matter, it will be up to Shadow Master. As soon as he said this, all the elders agreed. Zhou Luan waved her hand, and the elders immediately quieted down. The Grand Elder has been in charge of Blood Shadow's affairs for several hundred years. Although he was in the wrong, we should leave him some face. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.